Good Monday morning. Welcome to BCB Live. Excited to have you in here. Not a lot of big news. Drive safe, Dave. Nothing crazy, but we did end up with the most medals in the Olympics. I think that tops the whole weekend. Hall of Fame going on. But let's talk a little bit about Olympic sports right now. 113 medals the USA got.
Yep, topped China. We've been trailing all along, and then all of a sudden in the last final day, slipped ahead to win the gold and comes out ahead on all medals overall. Definitely a Team USA deal. Very excited for our country. Very excited for what the Olympics means to the United States and how well we do.
Hey, kudos to the women. The women picked this country up, put it on their back, and marched to victory. 66 of the 113 medals belong to the women. 66 of the 113. And Drive Safe Dave, 23 of those 39 gold medals, same thing, went to the women here in the United States. Hey, women, y'all continue to push it. You continue, and you all know it, right, Drive Safe? Yeah. They've been saying it for years that we do it all. You know, Kendra will tell you, they will tell you that we put you all on our back and we carry you. And I'm sure your wife says the same thing.
She says something like that, unless she wants me to actually carry something. I'll tell you what's really exciting there. I don't know if you looked at all of the events that they went through. I was going through a scroll of them, and it looks like the women won the fencing, won the individual event for fencing, won.
Yes, Sir Rick will stay away from the women when it comes to that, not taking a chance.
And then the shooting, skeet shooting, we won skeet shooting. I mean, you put a weapon in their hands in the United States, looks like the U.S. is going to come out on top.
I even think like the judo or the jiu-jitsu, they were the first one that a women won that one. The U.S. woman won that as well. Hey, so big shout out to the women.
Wrestling. We
love that. We're part of that Women in Trucking inside of the Trucking Association. We're going to be part of them as they do their show here in Dallas. Women are important, and we have women out there driving today. Drive Safe. We have women today out there driving that are part of Women in Trucking as well.
Yeah, they make up a small percentage overall, but it's a growing. It is a growing, I guess, part of trucking. Part of the overall industry. It is growing ever more every day, and more women are joining the force, joining the workforce. And I'll tell you what I'm excited about is that this is the one industry that definitely creates equal pay, equal opportunity for the same work done every mile. I mean, they get paid basically the exact same money for the exact same work done.
Yes, sir. Hey, producer, what you got?
Yeah, so I had a question here. So I know that we do have that Women in Trucking event coming up in Dallas. I've talked about it a few times with some people around the office. So for those drivers that do want to know more information about that, maybe the date that's happening, or some of the events that they're going to be hosting, or information about that, do you have anything that you can share with us about that?
Well, you can always go to womenintrucking.com. That's the best place to go. Listen, it's women that are part of this company, women that are drivers. There's a certain group of women that we have here that are part of that are already registered. Hey, Shelly is another great resource in HR. If you want to know more information, I would just Google the Women in Trucking and look at some of the things that they're having. Just a great program. We're going to be represented there as well. And it's not just it's not just for the driver aspect of it. It's Women in Trucking, Drive Safe Dave. And you know what? We are blessed to have women here that run that HR, that are driver managers. We have some strong women in that recruiting side, in the billing side. We have strong women throughout this country on our accounting side. Women have in the orientation. Women are so strong in our CSR. Women are definitely part of this company, part of this industry. And you know what? We want to encourage you to push further, push harder. If you're a woman out there, you want to be in this industry, right? Drive Safe. If you want to drive, you mentioned it. You know what? You're getting paid more or less by the mile. What you can do, if you can do it safer and get the more miles, you're going to get paid more.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be held true as we move forward into this new century. It's going to. I truly believe this is going to be a business and an industry for all, inclusive of all. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, in this business, I believe it's going to grow not only in both male and female, but all across the board. I think it's going to be a truly inclusive industry.
Battle of the sexes. You know what? We can do a battle of sexes for any listener.
Not
to
on the
BCB.
Olympics, because we would have
Battle of the sexes. Buckle up, Bob. I bet he can go into our data and find out accident per million miles for women versus men. It's a very even thing if you do it by the mile, right? So exciting things that we can do. We do believe that, you know what, at the end of the day, Drive Safe, that it's not just the women, but it's men, it's the kids, it's all of our ability to be safe. We have got to, our goal, get out and look, our goal has to be protecting life, whether you're a truck driver, whether you're a school bus driver, whether you're a four-wheeler.
Yeah, and it's not to us, it's not just a goal to us, it's a true value, right? We place an emphasis not only on the value in our soul, we place the emphasis on the value of who we are. And it is not just a priority. It's not just an esteemed possibility for us. We truly believe it is of the future. It is what we're going to do in the industry. It is our value here at BCB Live. If you read BCB Live, if you listen to BCB Live, you understand the true value is the value of protecting life at all times. In every decision, whatever we do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are or what you say.
We're in the 100 deadliest days right now. You realize that? We are still in that 100 deadliest days, and here it is right now. We are issuing, and we're seeing more police officers and jurisdictions complaining and saying there is more speeding, Drive Safe Dave, going on this year than ever before. We have the folks in CHIPS that have written out more tickets. You know, California Highway Patrol, for those of you that don't know that, California's written out more speeding tickets for over 100 miles an hour than before, Drive Safe. Significant.
Yeah, and I do believe this is one of those bad habits that was created when there wasn't enough people on the road. And that bad habit has just prevailed itself further and further down the line, and people still have that bad habit until they're broken of it or until they change that habit. So if you go over 28 days, they say that if you practice something for more than 28 days, you've created a habit within your own personal behavior.
Yes, sir.
And so if the pandemic we know lasted longer than 28 days, and we know that there weren't enough people on the road in that 28-day period, so a lot of people sped up. And a lot of people drove faster, and a lot of people drove way too fast, and that bad habit has created and prevailed itself into now and into the deadliest days of summer.
So back in 2020, when the roads were a ghost town, right?
Correct.
We set records, on these. They have races across the United States. 2,860 miles across the United States is how this race goes. It's an unofficial race, by the way, Drive Safe. But that record was beat this year, right? This year, with much more traffic, it was beat. Listen to the record, though. 159 was the top speed. 159. They went 2,816 miles in 25 hours and 55 minutes.
Okay, that
25
is not
hours
good on a log
and
book.
55 minutes. This wasn't a truck, but it doesn't matter, right? So listen, their average speed, 108 miles an hour. 108 miles an hour. And I want you to hear this quote. Okay, here we go. This is from the thing, of course, unidentified person.
This is Cannonball,
yes,
right? We're talking about the Cannonball, right?
Here we go. There's no person who's never sped, just sped faster and longer.
That is stupid. That is so stupid.
Hey, well, this is coming from the guy, keep in mind, who drove his Mustang GT for 25 hours. Yes. I'm pretty sure the guy was like, you know what, I'm going to speed as long and as fast as I possibly can.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
They do have, don't they have in that Cannonball, don't they have a team event where they swap drivers? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this was a team one or not, but
I think it is.
That's absolutely amazing, though. First of all, that's a little too fast.
A little too fast.
And it's not safe. I mean, were you really? I mean, you can't go for 25 hours as a single person for certain, average of 108, and you still have to get gas. You got to pull over, go to the restroom. You got to get something to eat. I guarantee you this: you're not going through the Whataburger drive-through lane if you're in this line, right? If you're in this race, you'll
be way too long. You'll be way too long. You've got a cooler back there full of food, and then. But I'll tell you, that's and you're not taking a shower. I mean, you're not pulling over.
No.
You're not taking
It's
a
only
shower.
25 hours. That's not that long.
That's one day. That's one day.
Yeah.
But what I think is also interesting is while we're talking about that race that happened, they also saw like an increase in these supercars that were coming out over the pandemic, which I thought was crazy. So like in New York City, Ferraris and Lamborghinis increased in visibility. There were more supercars blazing down these streets during the pandemic as opposed to prior to it.
What do you think about that?
No.
You drive safe. I mean,
you know what? I don't have a lot to say on that. In that
that's back when chips were readily available, right? Back when chips were. Oh, I remember when we used to get chips. We could put a Ferrari on the road. You can't do that right now because we still have a chip shortage in the United States.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, and believe it or not, I think a lot of that's going to be prevalent going forward. We still have a lot of shortages. We're not out of it. I mean, yeah, we talk about it, and everybody is saying, "Oh, we're producing chips." Those aren't going to be completely done until next year. You get that, right?
I mean, just some of them. They hope to be kind of up to speed by the end of this year, really in the next year. But some of these chip companies, and let's face it, we're putting chip companies in right now to be able to produce chips in 4 years. And I'm thinking, my God, first of all, how does it take that long to create a plant? You know what? No wonder they're overseas, I guess, right?
Yeah.
If it takes that long here in the United States to create a plant to make a chip, it just doesn't sound that hard to me. I'm not, I got a year and a half. I have 1 point. I'm gonna go up maybe 1.35 years ago. I'm not even sure I finished my last half. It's been a long time, but I still can't see making a chip can take that long.
You know what? I truly don't know what all goes into the silicon chip and how complicated
But you can
it is.
make it up, though.
Yeah, I can make it up. I can tell you what I think it does, but they have to be. I do know they have to be very clean environments. I do know that they have to be very dust proof. They have to be, it's almost like a lab environment, and they have to create that.
So not this place here, right?
But if we can put up, but if we can, but if we can put up a hospital in Central Park during a pandemic within days by the military, why can't we build a plant?
Well, I think the main difference between that is, a hospital in a pandemic is like, saving people's lives. Chips are just like, I can't. I remember back in my day, I used to get a used car for under $10,000.
I don't know, man. You talk about stimulating the economy. It is important. I mean, our economy is a life-saving. It is a beating. To me, it is a beating heart of this country.
Yeah, but I mean, we are also still going through a very heavy pandemic. I mean, we're seeing hospitals surging right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's.
I got my shot.
Oh, yeah.
I got my shot on Saturday.
Look at that.
And let me tell you, you bring that up, you talk about that. I don't know, but Drive Safe, talk to me. So yesterday, I just had a weird feeling inside me. Was that sick? Was I sick for the first time ever? Was that what that was?
No,
I felt a little bit, I just didn't feel like Sir Rick, invincible. I was just. I was sitting down a lot.
I truly don't believe that had anything to do with physiology. I think that had to do with psychology, thinking that you actually had to step forth and you started to doubt yourself in not only mentally but emotionally.
There was a crack in the armor. It felt
like there was a fissure in the wall of Sir Rick. So I do think it had a little bit to do with up here and not necessarily.
Listen, I still went out and walked. I still did some things earlier today. Let me tell you, Miss Kendra, if she's on the air right now, Miss Kendra didn't do it. She was feeling it. She was complaining about her arm. And I don't know if she went to my arm's hurting to, I just can't get out of bed. Miss Kendra stayed in bed all day. I'll give it to her. Ask her, you know what, get her on this show and ask her what's the longest amount of hours you've watched TV in a day, because I think that record happened yesterday.
She binged. Did she binge?
She binged, I don't even know what it was, but my God, it had like 15 seasons, and I think she watched them all.
She went, and it probably was something that none of us would watch, right?
No, hey, but Miss Kendra, I love you. She's a great woman. She deserved that day off. She did her part like Sir Rick and got that COVID shot. Drive safe, Dave. Listen, as we talk about safety here at BCB, yes, we've had 83 days of driving accident-free. Yes, we've gone 83 days, and a lot of kudos goes out to you for all of that. Phenomenal job. Yes, Drive Safe, we've gone 24 days of getting out and looking.
Fantastic.
We've gone that. But you know what? There's other things that also go into the safety. That's washing your hands.
Oh, yeah.
For 20 seconds. Hot water. 20 seconds wearing that mask. Drive safe, Dave.
Demonstrating it like they do on the airplane.
Wearing the mask, doing all we can to be safe. And you, listen, yes, you out there on the road, you've got to continue to stay safer. You got to stay in your bubbles. You did it better than most during the heat of the pandemic, right?
Absolutely. Don't let your guard down. And I do want to say this, and I want to make sure everybody understands it. We talk about continuing to be safe, but if you do feel bad, right? If for any reason you start to feel bad or what have you, make sure you get tested. Make sure you do the things because we don't want you to continue the spread, right? We want to make sure that you do isolate yourself and you find out if you are.
We're not talking muscle cramps now, right?
No, we're not talking.
There's certain things that if you look at
103 fever, make sure.
There you go. There you go.
You know, if you spike a fever, if you get, some of the things that.
Well, I just feel like the world just shut down. Well, Drive Safe Dave said.
Drive Safe Dave said that if
manufacturing's down the plummet right now. Everything's plummeting right now. Stock market's going down because Drive Safe Dave said. Drive Safe, you have that power though.
Yeah, I don't. I hope my power that I do have is that everybody find a way to protect not only themselves but other people today, whether it be driving or whether it be personal contact with other individuals. We have an opportunity, we have a goal, and we also have a mission here at BCB Live to bring you the information so that you can do what you can to be safe out there, not only for yourself, but for other people.
How about a little freight and review?
Okay.
Hey, welcome to BCB's Freight and Review. We didn't talk a little bit about this at all really last week as I was on my weekly travel, dropping my daughter off at college. But freight did happen. We still shipped out. A lot of freight going on. We look at the market here at 15,508. Folks, what that's saying is that we are still shipping out a lot of freight. And it means, and we talk about this, is that it's not going anywhere. There's going to continue to be a lot of freight. There's a lot of backlog right now in freight. And when we look at those rejections, hey, listen to me, drivers out there. We look at the rejections, they're back up a little bit over 21%. We're over 21% on those rejections. And again, I want to make sure you realize what that means. 21% of record freight, right? We continue to be in that upper echelon of freight. 21% of that freight's being rejected. It means it's a good time for trucking out there. We should be able to find the freight. We should be able to keep you busy. You should be able to stay safe. What we're going to continue to focus on, though, as you pull all of this freight, as you do your part, is we're going to do it safe. Freight's heavy. Rejections are very high. Spot market continues to go a little bit crazy. Stay tuned for more BCB.
Hi, welcome to our rapid fire. Today we've got Dylan. You ready for this?
I am as ready as I can be whenever it comes to this.
Okay, we're going to dive right in. Do you like the smell of gasoline?
Nostalgic.
Have you ever tasted soap?
Yes, for sure.
Now, is this because your mom had to put it in
Sure,
your mouth?
for sure, yeah.
What's your favorite carnival food?
Probably either a corn dog, like the really ones. Those are awesome. Or, I guess,
Or ketchup. If there's a spider in your house, do you kill it or set it free?
depends on the kind of spider and who gave me the alert that there's a spider in my house.
Come on. 2 dots or stripes.
That's right.
Are your grandparents mildly rude?
Not really, actually. Or dad's side, yes. One of them, my grandpa is, but not my grandparents on my mom's side or my
There you go. LA or New York?
I've never been to either of them, so I guess New York?
Super Mario Brothers or Zelda?
Zelda.
What's your favorite martial art?
Ooh, Kung Fu? Kung Fu.
And lastly, dogs?
I think dogs are dogs. Communicate with the other living thing. So if that's what constitutes
There you go. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, and welcome back to BCB Live. Drive Safe Dave. During the break, we were talking a little bit and very little about items, about songs that can be turned into safety songs. You know, we have Safety Struck, a big part of BCB Live. Is there any other songs that come to your mind? And I'm gonna give you time. Are you ready?
I'm gonna go with "Feels Like the First Time." You know, the first time you get out on the road, how cautious you are, how careful you are, and that's what you got to do.
That song was nothing even close about that.
That's
right?
what I think it is.
I think we're reaching on that. I like it though because
Different kind of safety.
What now?
I do like where you're coming from because it feels like the first time back when I was learning to drive the big truck, right?
And how important the rules
going back
were.
to basics.
Yeah.
Didn't really realize that's what that song was about.
It is about
It feels like the first time.
That's
hey,
right.
here, I'll match you for another one. Think about Pee Wee Herman. Let's go.
How is
Safety instead of tequila, right? You got safety. Come on.
should have? You know what? I should have realized that right away. I heard that when in the middle of the song.
I'll do you one more. Let's go. Let's keep going with what was the Tom Cruise playing movie? Highway to the Safety Zone. Dun, dun, dun.
I got the Top
Gun.
Gun.
There you go.
Hey, that new movie's coming out. Have you seen the trailer?
Oh no.
Yeah, he's got a new Top Gun coming out.
Is it him still?
It is. He's
No, I'm out on that. I'm
What
out
are
of
you
that.
talking
But
about?
it is about safety, you know, that highway to the safety zone. And when we think about highway to the safety zone, Drive Safe Dave, boy, do we have some startling videos that we're going to try to share with you all tomorrow. We're going to make sure that we can show that to you tomorrow. From WFAA, a major accident up in Denton, Texas over the weekend.
Yeah, you know, and I think it started out as I saw the plea from the police chief, the fire chief, in trying to express the dangers of being out there and staying focused on the road when emergency vehicles are present. And one of them was a tractor trailer running straight through two fire engines parked. You know how they protect the road,
yes.
and never slowed down and plowed right through them and made it all the way through two fire engines. So damaged both fire trucks immensely, and then still made it all the way through, and almost could have possibly killed firemen on the scene working the accident. And then also one of the other incidences was in Dallas alone. A Dallas police officer was pulled over and was killed while driving. The policeman was killed outside the vehicle. Someone wasn't paying attention and was killed. And it has been 3 accidents in just 30 days involved with emergency vehicles on the side of the road with people not paying attention or not slowing down.
Yeah, so on the Saturday, I believe, or was it yesterday, maybe it's Sunday, we did talk a little bit about this. My trip back from Alabama. Saw some things that I really recognize that the four-wheelers needed to help participate in to make truckers out there a little safer. That would be when you see a disabled vehicle over on the right, when you see a DOT officer, a police vehicle, emergency vehicle on the right-hand side, that you as a four-wheeler, you've got to let that truck in. You've got to let that tractor in, that car in front of you in that left lane. It's a law, right, Drive Safe?
It is a law, and let me tell you, the law is very specific about this. Not only do you have to be courteous at the moment, but really you have to understand that you either must pull over, and this is Texas state law, you must either pull over into the other lane or you must slow down 20 miles below the posted speed limit. There's no variance. There's no, hey, I need to slow down a little bit. But if you can move over into the other lane, please move over. If you can't move over, you must slow down at least at a minimum 20 miles below the posted speed limit. And you know what? If you're a big truck and you're having to slow down, remember, you control the traffic. You control the speed next to that officer. You control what's going on. And if you have to slow down more than 20, well more than 20, then do so to protect those people out there.
Yeah, we have to make sure that we're doing our part. We've got to make sure that we, the big trucks out there, that you, the big trucks out there, are controlling the traffic behind you. It's, you know, there was a plea from the officer, right? Drive Safe.
Yes.
There was a plea to us, to the four-wheelers, to the truck drivers to watch out for the vehicles, that when you see those lights up ahead, that you've got to slow down, drive safe. From what everything looks like, it does appear that we had some probably distracted driving on the big truck.
Yeah.
Nobody slowed down.
Right, and I think a lot of that goes to paying attention and being focused. Get off of the cruise. You see those emergency lights, and it doesn't matter if they're red and blue, green, yellow, or white. It does not matter. Emergency lights are there to gather your attention and to warn you of a possible danger. You know, a tow truck on the side of the road is an emergency vehicle, and there are people out working the scene. You have to slow down. They must get the same recognition, the same respect on the road out there when you're slowing down. Yes.
And I think even a four-wheeler pulled over on the side of the road, anybody who's broken down trying to change a tire on the side of the road, treat that like an emergency vehicle. People get killed out there whenever they're trying to, if somebody gets a flat on the side of the road and they have to change their tire, those are people out there. Those are lives on the highway that we got to take care of as well.
Yeah, and you do, and you know what? And you've got to be looking out for these things, and distractions are real. And when we talk about distracted driving, listen, sometimes they're not going to have their lights on. It can be a four-wheeler, and they're just pulled over, and they don't know the rules. Drive safe, Dave. Let me tell you something. Sunday morning, I'm driving into work. There's a moving truck, a moving bobtail headed over Heritage Parkway, over the bridge. It's in the right-hand lane, and it is shut down. It's stopped. The couple has the back door open, and I guess something had slid around, and they're back there fixing it. No lights on, no flags, no cones. They're doing it in the right-hand lane.
No triangles out.
No triangles. And listen to me. My plea in BCB Live, it goes so much deeper than just you out there driving the big truck. It goes to the students. It goes to those moving companies, because protecting life, Drive Safe Dave, that's something that each and every one of us, each and every one of you watching this, whether you're in the school, whether you're at home, whether you're in this office, driver, manager, you're working from home right now. And yes, you, our drivers, our professional drivers, you have that responsibility to protect life.
In everything you do and every decision that you make, it must come first. And we do that as a group. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to do that here, because that is the primary function of BCB Live. That is the primary principle, primary value, and primary concept, that you must protect life in all decisions, and slowing down and finding a way to keep everybody safe around you. Remember, as the kings and queens of the road, it is paramount that you take the leadership role, that you do what's necessary out there on the road. If you need to, you slow the traffic for everyone around you. You slow the traffic. You control the flow of traffic more than you can possibly imagine. It doesn't matter how close they get to your tail bumper. They're not going to be able to push you any faster than you're going. And you are the ones that make the difference out there each and every day.
And let me tell you something else. If you're sitting in a brokerage office right now and you're thinking, you know what, I don't have any assets. I don't control what this driver does. Yes, you do. The way you talk to our drivers, the way you talk to drivers on the road, it makes a big impact in how they go. Are you talking to them about safety, or are you just telling them to be on time? Right. Are you talking to them about the weather? Do you know the weather where your freight's going to and from? In between, are you going into a snowstorm or to a tornado? What's going on with your load, or are you just looking at when it picks up and when it delivers?
Yeah, and it's not. It goes, but to me, it goes beyond that. Let's talk about I-70, closed west of the Rockies, and it continues to remain closed. So there, you have a go-around route. You have a out-of-route miles necessary, which is going to affect your travel time. Yep. And we had an I-40 closure out there on the Memphis Bridge. We had an I-16 closure in Savannah. We talked about all of those here on the air, and the principle behind it is these are going to create difficult situations that we need to react accordingly, right? And let our drivers know we understand the difficulties that they're going to face.
Yes, sir. And when you're going and you avoid 70, and you mentioned it, right? And you take 80. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, what's going to happen on 80?
Wind.
My God, is there wind? It will just go and go. And during summertime, it'll be iced up. It'll be shut down. There'll be snow blowing across the road. It'll be sunny. It'll be 90 degrees.
And windy.
The next minute, it'll be 3 below. It is the craziest place up there.
Yeah.
And I know I'm preaching to the choir because y'all drive it every day. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, we got time for a little phrase that pays?
We do have time for the phrase that pays.
All right, let's do it.
Don't stress when traffic's a mess. Slowing your roll is good for your soul.
Slow your roll. Big fan of that. One more time, drive safe.
Don't stress when traffic's a mess. Slowing your roll is good for your soul.
Can you tell me what that means before
Absolutely.
we go?
I'm telling you, don't freak out. Slow down. Relax in the moment. Do what you have to do. And let me tell you, it's going to be good not only for you, but everybody else around you, because you are going to know it's the right thing to do deep inside here.
Woo! Love it.
I was out on the highway, loving my job, feeling blessed with presents. Buckle up, Bob. After this run, I'll get home to the ones that I love. Drive safe, Dave. He's got the passion. Get the job done. Spreading the news and sharing their views. Solid as brick. Here comes Sir Rick. You've been safety struck. Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir. Right on.
All right. Producers rushing us this morning. No, we're not quite in the flow as we should be. Just a reminder, we have Brake Safety Week coming up in a couple weeks, right? It's August 22nd, so it's 2 weeks from yesterday. That they're going to, be focusing on the brakes. So we're going to focus ourselves on the brakes these next couple weeks. I've got some of the most common reasons for brake failures. And number one that they listed was neglect. And what they meant was, people don't even check them. People don't even look at them. They're not, maybe they don't even know what to look at, right? So again, we're going to kind of talk about some of the parts that quickly that fail the most, and some of the things that are caught on the brake checks. And again, the neglect. We see it. You have to start pre-tripping, and you have to do good pre-trips. You can't just be walking around the trailer and not checking the brakes or listening for air leaks, right? When you're on the one side of the trailer, you are to be shining a flashlight on the inside of the wheels on the other side, right? Looking at the brake pads, looking at the shoes, the drums, whatever you can see to see if there's an oil leak, a grease leak, if the pads look thin, right? We're not asking you to crawl under the trailer. We're saying if you see something that looks close, then that's your signal to get it into a shop, and let's have it double checked and make sure, right? And so we'll have some of those criteria maybe next week, some of the depths and the actual measurements. This week we're going to talk about all the things that they will look for and the things that cause brake failure. Like I said, the first one is neglect. But we are at 83 days. 83 days without a preventable accident. That is also our DOT reportable preventables as well. Still waiting on one I challenged as of Friday. They had not ruled on it yet on one of our DOT reportables. And we are at 24 days, get out and look, right? 6 days away from another month there, and another week. Next Monday, we'll be at the big 9-0 on preventable accidents. So, hey, with that, we are going to go look at a little bit of weather. Right. Hey, welcome back. As you can see, not a whole lot going on with the exception of Illinois and Indiana. Down here, getting close to Paducah, right there on, what is that, 64 that cuts across there into Lexington. So, again, and then up here on the Illinois-Wisconsin border. So, as we see, let's see which way this is moving. Kind of moving almost straight east. So, you can kind of see, and then it kind of connects with the line in Chicago. So it's growing, as you can see. A lot of lightning on the back edge of it. The leading edge is some rain, but the back edge, they are showing a lot of lightning. So hey, be ready for that. Pull over. You can see the little bit of a red right there. That should be somewhere around Effingham. Vandalia. So Vandalia is first, then Effingham gets a little bit right in there. So, that's the area in Illinois that they're forecasting the strongest rain. As we said, currently it is there. You can see just north of Vandalia and then on into Evansville, Indiana as well. And so, yeah, Evansville is right on that 64 into Louisville. As we go through the day, let's shrink that down a little bit. So we can kind of, come on, shrink for me. There you go. And so we can kind of see, what do we got? 9 o'clock tonight. It moves up in northern Indiana this afternoon. Again, looks like Wisconsin, you're going to see some of the strongest storms. But then there's a chance right here through the center of the Ohio Valley down to the Gulf Coast is going to have a good chance of some thunderstorms. And then tomorrow morning when we come back on, you can see it dies down a little bit, except up here on the Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota border. Got a lot of activity out here in the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean. So you can see a lot of storms out there. Not expected to do much for the landfall or to cause us any issues. Our winds this afternoon, currently not much going on. Not giving us a little, there we go. So you can see some 28, 30 mile an hour gusts expected in Oklahoma City. Our current, not much going on there. Fort Worth, we're seeing 23 mile an hour gusts. Down here in Waco, no gusts, just 16. So as we go through the day, the winds pick up a little bit. You can start seeing them coming into Montana, Wyoming, that I-80 is Sir Rick and Drive Safe was alluding to. You can see down here into Dallas, Texas, all of Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma. You're going to see them mid to low 30s. So just requires a little bit of a speed reduction. Tomorrow morning, still going to stay windy all through the night in Texas and Oklahoma. You can see it drops to the mid 20s from the low to mid 30s mile per hour gusts. And then tomorrow, a lot of the same. You can see it starts to come back in Montana and Wyoming, but it also starts to pick up out here on the northeast. Pennsylvania, Ohio should see the mid to upper 20 mile an hour gusts as well. So just going to require some slowdown. Okay. One of the things we want to talk about is the fire. That Dixie fire that we talked about for the last couple of weeks, they're just not making any headway. It is now at 489,000 acres. And what I wanted to show you was, let's see, let me find it here. There we go. It's now got some roads that we want to just really be mindful of. I don't think we go on these roads, but right up here is the Dixie fire right here. And you can see, did update finally. Oh, no, that's an old one. Okay. This morning it was at 21%, contained 489,000 acres. But what we want to do here, let me get you a little easier for me anyway, is to look at this kind of map. There you go. So you kind of see it is compassed. This is 38, I believe, that runs across from Susanville. Let me get it centered there. Yeah, 36. I'm sorry. So 36 from Susanville, California, all the way out here, right, to Campbellville, where it kicks 32, and then it comes across up here in Mineral, California. It's off limits, right? They're just battling this thing all over the place. You can see a couple smaller fires now out of there as well. And then we've got 70. Yeah. From Portola, California, Kronberg Springs. So basically, we don't want to get up in here because there's no place to turn around. So 70 from Portola, you're going to have to, is off limits all the way. Let's see. It comes on down here to, I'm just going to say Concal because it's easier to pronounce. So again, the other ones are too close anyway. So we want to keep 70 off limits. I don't know if they're truck routes or not. It looks like the 70 is, and possibly 36 as well. So we do want to stay off of them because this fire is, I think it's been like 800 structures have been caught in that live out here in these rural areas. But again, as you can see, it's got all the highways kind of covered that we would go on. So again, that's 70, which runs down here, and then again 36, which will also keep you off of 89, right? So 89 is also off limits. So all the way up there to Mineral and Mill Creek. So again, it's a bad area. Let's just stay away from it. If you've got any kind of route or freight that seems to be taken there, you need to pull over and call safety. Let's find a different route for you. Again, this thing is pushing 500,000 acres, and there's still only 21%. I watched some of the highlights over the weekend, and them firefighters are exhausted. The heat from these things is amazing. So just avoid that area at all costs. There are a couple others that are out of control still. And again, these have been for several weeks. But again, they're not anywhere where we're going to go. And so that's these up here. You can kind of see they're out in the middle of nowhere, but they're not really 24% contained. And this one is 25% contained. So right around there, up there. And again, they're not expected to cause any issues for us. These three here are contained, as well as I think this one's still only 2%, the Trail Creek. So we want to avoid 93. These have not been updated, but again, I think that one's up to about 10%, but it's still want to watch 93 running north and south. We said from Salmon, right, on up to Hamilton. So we want to avoid 93 there as that gets a little close. And again, it's approaching 25,000 acres, I believe. So be aware of that. And again, as we always say, if you see smoke, right, don't drive through it. One of the things I was watching the weather is that smoke is reaching all the way to Indiana. It's reaching to almost in Ohio. It's not coming down south to Texas as much. They said you might see a little bit in the Panhandle, but mostly it's going across that northern border. But the smoke from that Dixie fire is reaching over through like 8 to 10 states east from it. So with that, we will take a quick commercial break and be back for some videos.
We're here in a rapid fire with Gabby. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to tell me the fine. Ready?
God.
You sure?
No.
Sourdough or
I don't know what either means.
bread?
Oh. Eat.
What do you want to live forever?
Yeah. Not get old.
How many pull-ups can you do in a row?
5.
Favorite type of
Tea. I don't know. Is there different kinds of teas?
there are? What's your favorite? Cake or pie?
Cake.
Godfather or Star Wars?
Don't know either.
How many times did you sneeze in the last 7 days?
I'm going to count, especially in the mornings.
Are rats cute?
Awesome. Not near me.
What's your favorite car?
Honda.
Last, do you know how to salsa dance?
I do.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Good morning. Welcome back. Hey, let's take a look at some videos, Mr. Producer, see what we got going on today. All right, we're running about 70 miles an hour here, and so following distance, we talk a lot about following distance, and if we're running 70, we should have at least 6 seconds, maybe even more following distance there. Even at the beginning of this video, we did not have near that much. If you use the count the white line thing, 10 foot per white line, 30 feet in between, that's 40 foot. We should be seeing, 8, 10 of those in between cars. So following distance, guys, we'll continue to work on it. We'll continue to talk on it, show you great videos and show videos where we can make some improvement, and we kind of close the gap a little bit and understand that, to pass, but we need to keep that distance between the car in front of us and just pull out to pass a little bit earlier. Good following distance here. You know, we start out with great following distance. And what it does, you know, when traffic starts stopping or starts slowing down, it gives us the opportunity, you know, to come down, to slow down, as long as we're paying attention to that big picture. And we are here, you know, have plenty of time to get slowed down, no hard brake or anything like that. Just a great job by the driver here. You know, what I like about this is, you know, obviously there's no shoulders here. The lanes are probably a little bit narrower, and our driver has adjusted his speed downward to it. I mean, I always talk about adjusting our speed to road conditions, light conditions. And here's a case where, you know, the road conditions changed. They took the shoulders away on both sides, and our driver has slowed down. Great job, driver.
Yeah, construction zone. It looks like you're going to build a road that goes up, right?
Yeah,
the way that wall is. So sure looks like they're going to build a ramp there and then connect to that one. So.
And this one, this is a great one. It's a stale green light. You know, one of my nicknames is Stale Dale. So I threw in the stale green light here. The driver's actually slowing down ahead of time, kind of anticipating, knows the light's been green for a while, know it's stale, and so it started slowing down ahead of time. Came to a stop, and if you notice, we're stopped in front of the white line and everything. Great job by our driver. Of course, two four-wheelers take the opportunity to go through a yellow and then a red light there, but our driver just does a super, super job here.
Yeah, I watched somebody this morning on the way to work run a red light. You know, mine's green, and actually, it was right here in Mansfield, right there by where the Mellow Mushroom used to be and everything. I'm coming towards work, and somebody ran it from the left, and just mine's green, and
Yep.
it'd been green for about 3 seconds, and the car just made the left turn.
Yep. Oh. Here's one, Bobby. You know, we put this one in. Here's a U-turn with a big truck. You go ahead and take this one, sir.
Yeah, I called the driver on this, and the driver owned it. Said, you know what? It was absolutely the wrong thing to do. He goes, I just wanted to not drive down the road any further, and he said I had a clear intersection, so he went ahead and made this U-turn. But he knew it was wrong, and folks, just so you know, our company policy is basically no U-turns allowed because you either get no issue at all or a bad issue. There's never a good outcome. It's just either nothing happens or something bad, and that's just not worth it. We always want to go down, find that safe place to turn around. Intersections being the most deadliest, right? And we know people run red lights. So if you're out here and they think you're making a turn and the light changes and somebody jumps in or not paying attention, you're going to be at fault. And I got to believe it's illegal. I mean, most of the time there's a sign there, you know, but I think it's just common knowledge, and I'll have to look it up. But I'm pretty sure it's just illegal to make a U-turn in an intersection for a semi. You know, I know cars do it all the time. I've seen them. I think I've even done it once or twice. But, you know, not recently because I just see the danger in the U-turn. Hey, go ahead and make this left turn. Go down there and find a place to turn in that left. Looks like a filling station there. Maybe you could turn in left there, come back out, and be all making the right turns. But just do the right thing. And again, that is clearly unsafe. The driver was great, knew about it, and agreed 100%. Who we got, producer?
Yeah, we got Larry Holt and then William Stevens. So, Larry, what you got for us, sir?
Morning, Larry. All right, Larry might be having some trouble.
All right, William Stevens, what do you got for us, sir?
William. All right.
All right, third time's the charm here. Alan Arnold, what do you got for us, sir?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning,
Alan.
Hey, Mr. Bob, Mr. Dell, we're talking about brakes. So, things we need to look at, your brake cams, you know, see if they're in adjustment, any leaks, springs, holding your brakes, because they could snap. The depth of your brake is not on the outer side of the shoe, but in the center of the shoe.
Right.
That's what they go off of. Okay? ABS. All right, that's a dead giveaway because the lights come on, you know, on the side of the trailer. And whatever you do, if you get an ABS light that comes on and will not go off, don't unplug it or have the service people unplug it and say it's fixed, because it's not.
It is not.
Okay. I mean, you're gonna get busted one way or the other.
Yes, you are. If the piece of equipment is, or if it's on the truck or the trailer, it has to be working. You cannot unplug it and say, okay, it's unplugged, therefore it's not a violation. It is still a violation because it's not working properly. This happened last week. There was all kinds of stuff that we saw dropped that we've got having the driver routed here to have a face-to-face where to make sure that every driver that does something like this understands it's just not going to be tolerated. All right? And so, thank you, Alan. Great points. I agree 100%. And we're going to have all of them in the next 2 weeks. We're going to spend 2 weeks prior to getting up to speed on this brake check. We want to be out in front of it, and we want to use this opportunity to lower our score, not to raise it. Who else we got?
All right, Alan, what do you got for us? Sorry about that.
That's all right. Hey, look, I ain't trying to be a bearer of bad news, but didn't we just go over these U-turns last week and show a bad U-turn with the trailer sticking out in the center?
Well, we don't know. We don't know if that was a U-turn or not, but yes, it was not the safest place to turn.
It's the same, principle. Same thing. But
yeah,
I mean, come on, we just talked about it. You just told us it's not our policy to do it.
Yep.
Why are we doing it?
It's a great question. Why is the earth round, not flat? I don't know. I can't fix human nature. But I'm going to try, Alan. I will not give up, brother. Who else we got, producer?
Yeah, we got two here. Jeff Marsh, then Jim Jones. What do you guys got for us?
I just want to let something weird happened in my family this past this Friday, and I don't want to say anything about weird. You'd be kind of wrong saying or anything, but my cousin had a cousin pass away Friday, and I found out that he was diagnosed with lung cancer at the end of June and it started July, and here it is August, and it's already killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it can go that fast. I don't know if they had time to. I don't know a lot about lung cancer. I don't know if you can do the chemo and stuff like you can the other cancers or anything like that. I don't know if they had time to get to him. I just don't know a lot about it, about his lung cancer because I just found out about it. But I mean, like I said, from the end of June to the 1st of July is whenever he diagnosed with it. And then now here it is, 1st of August. It took him only a month and it killed him.
Yep. Hey, Jeffrey, sorry for your loss and appreciate you bringing that up, buddy. Oh, is that it, producer? Oh, who else we got?
Got Jim Jones here. What do you got for us?
Hey, I just want to answer Alan Arnold's question as to why that person would make a U-turn is because the fear in your heart as you're going down that road, wondering what am I going to get into as I go further along. I won't say it makes it right, but it's that fear that I see a place, I see an opportunity, and I know the further I go, I don't know what I'm going to face. So that's why we do it. It doesn't make it right. I understand that. But I just wanted to answer his question. And Jeff Morris, I truly understand your loss, brother. And I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Hey,
y'all have a good day, guys.
No, great point, Jim. And that's what we want to talk about, because if we know what drives that decision, then we can help prevent it in the future. So, Jim, great point. I think you're right. It's like it's the fear of the unknown. Hey, I don't know what's down this road, And so, again, as we talk about these things, we are not looking to beat up a driver or make him or her feel bad. We're looking at, if we discuss it, we will come to, each one of you will come to your own conclusion of what's the safest thing to do. And that's really all this is about. As I watched the video, but I try to put myself in the driver's shoe, and I think Jim gives a great point there. I may be worried about what's there, especially if I don't know the area. You know, in this case, I get the advantage of watching that video over and over again, and then I see the gas station, right, where, hey, maybe I could have pulled in here, done a safe turn, and then come out in the direction either way versus making the U-turn. But you're right, Jim. I think that is a big point, especially if you're in an area you don't know how far to go down, whether there's going to be a place for you or not. It could be another 25 miles. And so you're just wondering. So great point. Yep. Anybody else, producer? All right. Hey, everybody. Great job. Great another week. Let's kick this week off. Hey, let's get them pre-trips done. Let's focus on the brakes. Brakes and tires are two of the most critical things in protecting life that you have, right? The tires and the brakes affect the wheels on that road, and the wheels control everything. We know speed controls the wheels, right? So them wheels have to be in great shape, and your brake system has to be in there. And we're going to talk about all the reasons, the first things of all the things that can go that need to be checked, and then next week we're going to talk a little bit about how to check them, maybe in something like that with Drive Safe Dave. Who else we got?
Yeah, Alan, what do you got for us?
Hey, I just want to throw this out there too. If you get your tires changed or your brakes changed, whatever, and most of the time they'll drive your lug nuts on, and then they'll torque them. I know the spec of the torque. Mr. Bob, Mr. Dale, do you all know the spec of the torque on that?
On the lug nuts?
Yes, sir.
I know when we changed trailer tires at a previous company, they had to be torqued at 7,500 pounds.
Okay. It's 450 to 550. Okay. And 450 being the lowest, and that's basically what they use. 550, it could crack your lugs. I mean, your wheels. But it's a good idea to know those things so that you can ask your tech, what are you torquing them at? Because that's the last thing we want is something to fall off. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, and anytime anybody changes a wheel, not a tire necessarily, but a wheel, you want to check them studs. Believe it or not, there have been roadside services that have put the wrong threaded studs on them, and then the lug nuts will work themselves off versus staying tight as the wheels go down the road. So, hey, you want to watch the studs. We've actually, the company I worked for before, we had a tire come off and hit a car. Nobody was hurt, and what we found out was that a tire service had come out and changed that tire or that whole wheel set. They had some studs were cracked or something, and they replaced them with the wrong-handed threaded studs. Can't say that really fast, but so that is something that you just don't think about. You assume, we always assume that people do their jobs, and that's the problem. People don't. We've seen it of our own group. We're going to point the finger at ourselves first versus others, but we don't do our jobs, and so we have to do that. You can't assume. What's that favorite saying? Assume makes an ass out of you and me, right? If you break it down. And boy, that is such a true statement. It's amazing how them words come up. Yes, producer.
Yeah, we got Cool Dude on the line. What do you got for us, sir?
Cool
Hey,
dude.
Bob, why you got them studs off? Yeah, why they got the lug nuts off? If you got the flat spacers on the end of your lug nuts, always just look at those while they're off to see if they're cracked. Because they will separate from the lug nut itself. It happens a lot, more common than what you think. And so anytime you're getting a tire changed or anything, a trailer tire, tractor tire, always check those lug nuts that have the flat end on them, because that's just a welded on washer, and it can break off. And then if that breaks off and cracks and breaks and falls, then you got a 1/2 inch between your wheel and the lug nut that's on there. I was just throwing that out there. God bless y'all. Have a great day, okay? Thanks,
Great.
man.
Right.
Yes, sir. Great point. All right. Is that it, producer? All right. Hey, everybody. Let's kick off this week again, our break week is now and every week. So we're going to close out with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, as you've heard, many of our family is suffering, Lord, and they're going through illnesses, Lord, that we can't understand or explain. But we do know, Lord, that when we put our faith and our trust in you, that you will make it all turn out for the good, right? For your glory. And again, these bodies we have here are temporary. We are going to get new ones when we come and stay with you eternally. So let us not be fixated on what happens on this earth, but focus on our eternal dwelling place, Heavenly Father. Lord, we ask that you again continue and always in each and every day, each and every minute, keep our dear brother Larry in your thoughts and your prayers, Lord, and your loving protection. Lord, give Jeff Marsh and his family the strength to deal with the loss of a loved one. It's always hard. No matter what, it's still hard, Lord. But again, give them the strength and the courage that only you can give. Lord, we ask with all of our hearts that it be your will, that you give our drivers the wisdom, the heart to change some of their driving habits, to just look for the good and the better way, the safest way to protect the precious life you've granted each and every one of them. At the end of the day, Lord, nothing else matters that each and every one of them are alive to speak and talk with their families or to make it home to their families, Heavenly Father, to make it back to their BCB family. Lord, we again thank you for the continued protection and decision-making of our owners, Sir Rick and Big Blue. Lord, we ask that the safety department continues to help with, in conjunction with the drivers, to change this culture that we have here for the better, make it stronger, make it the safest in the nation, Lord, as we desire to protect life in every and all decisions. And then, Lord, we thank you so much for your Son, Jesus, which allows us all to one day be together with you, with no pain, no tears, no suffering, Lord, and just being in communion with our Heavenly Father. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, where we not only learn about, talk about, but where we practice the BCBs of trucking right here on the show for you and for everybody out there today. It is Drive Safe Dave along with Big Blue. Good morning, Big Blue.
The safest station in the nation.
That's correct, sir, and that's what we're here about, and that's what we're doing. Hey, we got the producer on the boards back there. What's going on, Mr. Producer?
Not a whole lot, just hanging out behind the board as I tend to do. Yeah.
Does he have a captain's hat on? Is that it's pretty resemblant?
I just want to know, is it worn and tattered? Is it? Have you?
Oh, it's. He probably bought it that way. You know, that's.
Did you buy that way? Is that?
No, this is actually.
He did not work that hat that way. There is no
not enough time
way.
In his life.
Well, no, what is it? Did he hit it with the computer?
Or did you use that a biking accident?
No.
Oh, it could have been a forehead accident from his chick again, right?
No, you can't. Well, okay, from his
chick.
Significant other.
There's nothing wrong with the chick. It's a small chicken.
Okay.
So yeah, this is my grandpa's hat, and so he had it for a long time and gave it down to me.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Okay.
I like that, a pass down hat. That's kind of cool in and of itself. You know, did he give you any of the stories that he had with the hat?
He used it to coach football quite a bit. He was a big football guy, so this was his hat, rain or shine, all the time. So I've seen him with it plenty of times.
Nice.
And so it was cool to get
that
it
is
passed
cool.
down.
That I got a whole new respect for the hat.
I have met his grandpa too.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I sure have.
Oh, nice. A whole new respect for the hat right there. I won't be making fun of it now. It has that meaning. Have you heard that? You know that reminds me of that country western song, "The Hat." Have you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't know who's saying George Strait.
No, I can't remember. One of the guys and gals out there know which one I'm talking about. They'll let me know. They'll put it up there, post it up. Let me know what I'm talking about. Where he says, "Yeah, you can try to take this hat, but let me tell you a little bit about it before you do." And then he goes through the whole story about everything on.
Moving on to the next subject here at BCB Live.
I will tell you, an interesting article, Brian, was in the news, and it is a new ATRI initiative study where they are going through and they are, I guess, socially and profiling young people between the ages of 18 and 20 that will seem to have a better demeanor to be safe out there on the roads, and to have a little bit better and more mature attitude in order to get into the program of getting a CDL during those. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The study, as you look into it, and you have to pass first. You have to pass like a psychiatric evaluation, right, to make sure that you have the right temperament. And you
would have never.
Oh, of course not. No, I 100% agree with you.
Psycho.
100% agree that I would have never made this between the ages of 18 and 20. But let me tell you, for an industry that much needed labor force, a much needed individuals
we need a younger resurgence.
Yeah, we do need a younger resurgence, and capturing them at ages of 18, 19, and 20. I think that really gives the business and the industry an opportunity.
So what company is capturing this? Is it the driving school? Are they going to Swift? Who actually is getting these 18 to 20 year olds? Obviously, you probably can't insure them until they're 21.
No, you can. What they're doing is it's a beta program that they're working on, not only to allow, they can't do internet. I don't think they can do like interstate trade yet, but I think they can do intrastate commerce right now on a beta program. The article's pretty interesting. It really was more talking about how to realign and get younger blood into the system, because what's happening is when young people go into a career at 18 or 19, they can't get into trucking. So they go do something else first. And what they're trying to do is trying to find a way in which we can get somebody in right away.
So band that through.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, they're coming in immediately and they're fulfilling the needs. And I'm okay with it if they find a good method. I mean, look, let's all use the old argument. You put somebody in an M1 Abrams at 18 years old, they can drive a $6.2 million tank anywhere that'll run over anything. And why can't they drive a truck? I mean, and they vote and they go to war and they do all of these other things that they have in their lifetime. Why can't they?
I think they can train to drive a truck. I don't think they should be released probably until, I would say if they start at 18, then they need to go 2 years of training. I feel like. I mean, just that's and there's probably progression stages where, okay, you're without a trainer, but you can only go city work. Or I really think they should throttle that down some. That way the program's successful, and don't push it through so quick.
No, I don't. I think the real
what I would like to see.
Yeah, the real study here is that they're trying to capture the right individuals for the job, not just open application.
With the I do like that.
They're actually going out and they're making you fill out a survey, and they're doing a study to find out if you're that kind of individual that already is safe. Like, I truly believe, like the producer, he drives safe. He drives the speed limit, right? Pretty much.
I'm saying he's a 10-2 guy.
He is probably a 10-2 guy. He's a safe driver.
Bingo.
Yeah, you're a safe guy. You don't speed, right? Dylan,
I would say, yeah, he might speed a little bit, but he's definitely a 10-2 guy, and has the music down when he's rolling.
I saw Drive Safe's driving yesterday. I think I could go toe to toe in terms of safe driving with that guy. It was I had to clinch a few times, on the road last night.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's got issues.
I don't have any. Thanks, Dylan. I'll tell you what. That's the last time I pump you up. You're, you know, you
Next time you need to film that. Now when you sit it in the, we can play it on the show.
You and by the way, we got in late last night. What?
Dylan, do you have any Kleenexes?
I'm not crying. I'm just telling you the story.
Nobody cares.
What? I care. Do you care, Dylan? I care.
We've already had
my wife cares, and she's pretty important.
Know what? She really didn't care. She's like, I don't got this guy for one more day. This is Brian. Get out of here. But
Brian, get out.
But anyways, you know, just moving on. But she doesn't care.
She does care. But you know what? Interesting is, we have to think outside the box, right? We have to come up with new and innovative
well, the
ways
answer's never. What do I always say?
Oh my goodness! It's always Brian. What Brian always says.
The answer's never right in front of you. It's always out here.
Yeah, not always. Sometimes it's right in front of you.
Well, y'all don't typically
sometimes,
see it.
and while you're out there driving today, it's right in front of you sometimes, not always out here. Sometimes it's just right in front of you.
We're talking about problem solving.
I'm talking about life. But no, I'll tell you, let's be honest. I was excited about the article. I think it's a new and inventive way.
So where are they spot checking the test? Like, are they having them like in the Northwest?
It's actually just beginning up, and they're just
doing it. So where are they beginning that at? In the Northeast,
that's great.
Most populated?
Dylan, you got that pulled up?
I believe it's starting up in Minnesota, and they're bringing it down from there. It's getting tested out over in Minnesota before going nationwide.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's
trying to get
cool.
some of them kids out of the cold.
Well, I do know that if I remember right, I remember about a year ago, I was in the understanding that there was another trucking company that was doing intrastate in Mississippi. Interstate work with individuals younger than 18 to 20. They're doing interstate work as well.
So I got a story about Minnesota. Remember Boris Taylor?
Uh-huh.
So Boris
was a former dispatcher, one of the first.
Yeah, yes, sir. And so Boris was
my dispatcher.
I worked with Boris for a long time at Airborne Express.
Oh, you did?
Uh-huh. And so me and Boris actually carpooled for years to work together at Airborne. And so we got to know each other really well. So Boris, he was from West Memphis, Arkansas. And so somehow he moved up to Minnesota.
Yeah, it happens that way.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, probably not a good idea. So Boris said it's winter, dead of winter, and he goes, Boris didn't miss work, and so that dude goes to the gas station. He goes, he knew it was cold, right? He just didn't know how cold it was. He gets out. He said it was the worst thing ever. He said there is nobody out in the entire town. And then he realizes it's like negative 30. He said the town had shut down. He said he's out there trying to fill up. He said he couldn't even like grip it. That was like, he goes, Brian, he goes, that's when he goes, like the next couple weeks, I moved back.
I will, yeah,
He goes, I had no idea what I was doing. And he goes, that was evident. Time to go south.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been in some of those cold weathers, and almost every driver out there, having been driven up north and I have been in negative 30, negative 50, just west of Green Bay.
Negative 50 is time to, hey.
Yeah, you spit, because you know how it just runs, you know how your water just starts running, cracks. You can hear it crack when you spit, before it even hits the ground. That's how cold it is. And it's ridiculous. And that is not for me. I think that is for some people. I'm just saying personally, I'm out on that.
Yeah.
But it is cold, but it does get hot here too. So I mean, it depends on where you go. And anyway, we were talking about the initiative study. I don't know how we got off on Boris, but that initiative study, I think it's a great way.
We're talking about Minnesota.
New way and a cool way to.
That's a good article. Good article. So it's going to Minnesota. Does it say how it spreads from there, or are they just?
They're partnering up with the Minnesota Trucking Association. So I think if it goes well there, they're just going to start pitching it to other.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to get it.
One of it's going to be at the TCA in September. I bet you it will be.
That'll be neat.
Yeah, that'd be interesting for sure.
There was an article also. There's a large influx. We talk about the show and we talk about safety, and there was a article on the paper today, which there were 10 people killed in a crash on the border again. Another van ran into a pole. Had 29 people in the van crossing the border illegally. They weren't being pursued. They just lost control. When you when you overpack a vehicle like that, it becomes top heavy and it's not safe.
No, the weight
Yeah,
distribution is not made for that vehicle.
It's not made for that vehicle. And there were 30 people in the van, and 10 were killed, including the driver, when it collided. And many are still in serious condition. And it was in a border town just north of the border. Do you remember what border town it was?
It was actually right here in Texas. I believe it was Encino, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
About 50 miles north of McAllen. So there were, like you said, 30 people in the truck. Nobody walked away unscathed, with 10 people being killed in that crash and 20 more being injured.
All went to the hospital.
And all to the hospital. Yeah.
And it's just another, it's just another symptom of what's going on out there in regards to coming across the border. And it's just we've got to keep the mindset of what's going on out there. And if you're running to Laredo, and if you're running,
we had trucks running down there daily.
Yeah,
so,
down the road. Just be mindful of what's out there and be careful when you're out there and understand the dangers that are associated with these border towns. We don't want to definitely get tangled up in anything like this because it's happening. It's real world stuff, and we've just got to be aware of it. And I did see a funny article about the watermelons coming across the border. Another set of watermelons have been dosed up. What is that? There you go. More melons with more cocaine. Stuffing watermelons with cocaine and putting them back together and then shipping them across the border.
Yeah, I know we were talking.
Blew it back? Or how did you do that?
Who knows exactly how they do that, but they cut it and then they take some of the melon out and they stick it with this cocaine and then they ship it across again, and they found it. I think they're getting pretty good at finding
Talk about
this
some
stuff.
expensive watermelon.
Yes, it's expensive watermelon.
And we were talking about thinking outside the box. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. Well, they thought inside the watermelon
Inside
for
the
this
box,
one.
yes,
So it
absolutely.
was 70 pounds of cocaine inside of this
Yeah, that's
watermelon.
probably not cheap.
No,
I don't know what. Did they say what the street value was in the article? I couldn't.
It just said
70
they
pounds. I don't know.
found
That's a
70 pounds of cocaine inside of watermelons and also peppers. So lots of
you mean like
fruits
the bell
and
pepper?
vegetables, like bell peppers. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say it'd have to be because I can't see put it in a
jalapeno
or even a serrano. That would be.
Well, I'm good. I'm glad they did their job. We don't need it here.
No, we don't need it here,
Yeah,
and we
good
don't
job.
need it. Yeah, and we don't need it in this country. It is definitely bad. I'll tell you. Did you see? You're big on sports. We talk about sports a little bit. That what was his Messi? Do you know Leon? You know Messi, the soccer player for Barcelona Football Club?
The 34-year-old soccer star that is not going back. And
He's not
gonna be
going
the
back.
most touted soccer player right now.
So where do you think he's going? Does anybody have any idea?
Well, they did have an idea. I actually heard it on the radio this morning. I can't remember the name of it, but not too many teams can afford him.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
The reason he left was they were like, we can't afford this guy.
Well,
it was a money deal.
No. They had a deal.
They had a deal.
To sign.
Yeah, this was actually kind of out of the blue.
This is like left field. Him walking off from it. They had money ready to go, and he goes, yeah, okay, no, I'm gonna go test the waters.
Yeah. Well, what happened?
So they said this will be the most touted soccer player
in the history.
Well, not in the history. I don't know about that, but I do. As far as right now, here and now, he is the most touted soccer player, and he's available, and he's 34.
I mean, he's played 778 games for Barcelona and scored 672.
Yeah,
both of those being record numbers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And but he did initially signed a 5-year deal with Barcelona, but eventually, La Liga just said, we have a spending limit. You can't do this anymore. So while they had a deal initially, he's now going to be a free agent going through the European leagues. And who knows, maybe he'll retire. I mean, the guy's the most paid athlete in the entire world.
I don't know if he's going to retire. I think he's going to capture some more dough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And plus, I think they still say he's in phenomenal shape. And, I think his injury history was pretty good.
I'm sure the guy is in phenomenal shape, being the top soccer player in the entire world.
No, I'm just saying, probably looks something similar to Dover. I mean, if you get that picture.
Yeah. I'd run the length of a soccer field one time, and that'd be laid
I
out.
don't even think you can get the full length.
I can make it with one length, and then I'd be done.
No, I don't even think you get the full length.
Yeah, I should be the goalie.
Maybe
that
maybe if that garden snake was chasing you.
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, well, soccer players run about an average of 7 to 9 miles every game. So it's not just the soccer field.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm knocking that out 7 to 9 miles. Hey, we'll be right back with safety right after this message.
Thanks for joining us for Rapid Fire. We are here today with Patricia. We're just going to jump right in.
Okay.
What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Invisibility or super strength?
Super strength.
Place you most want to travel?
Hawaii.
What's your favorite junk food?
Chips.
Would you rather cuddle with a baby panda or a baby penguin?
Panda.
Are rangers real creatures?
I think so.
Do you know how to salsa dance?
Yes.
Yes, that was fast. And finally, what's your ideal outside temperature?
75.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, everybody, we're back. Drive Safe Dave, Big Blue, and Dylan behind the boards today here at BCB. Hey, we want to talk a little bit about the BCBs of trucking, and one of the things we want to emphasize today are the numbers of success that we are having right now. They are 80 and 21.
Correct.
We are doing phenomenal.
So 80 being what?
The preventable accidents.
DOT recordables.
That's right. And they are at 80 days without one.
Okay, so on the 21, for us, BCB Live, that is get out and look goal, right?
It is get out and look.
Okay, so that's anything that I think that's cost us money on that, because we did have a little accident, but it didn't cost us money the other day. We did tap on something.
Yeah, there was no way. We bumped. The guy reported it like he's supposed to, but there was no effect to the trailer. And I'm going to tell you, I think some of
but that's just like going on vacation, man. I'm ready to go. And that's human. Who wouldn't want to do that? Heck yeah, I'm ready. Dover, when you have vacation, you check out 7 days earlier. It is true.
That's not true.
And so we just need to focus, make sure that we're clear. And rain, sleet, snow, or shine, right?
Right, and it's every time. It's every single time. It's what we do here. It's part of the BCBs of trucking is what we try to...
And on the new trucks, what do we have? When you open the door.
Oh, yeah, we have the puddle light.
Puddle light says what?
It says BCB goal. It says get out and look. I mean, it's that important. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to emphasize that, you know what, it doesn't matter. Here, let me tell you, let me just set it up for you. You drive all day. You go wherever it is you go, and you may get out and look at the truck stop. I mean, you may get out and look at the shipper or the receiver. Or you may do all that. You may hook up, and you may do all these things that you're supposed to do. And then you're tired, and you're pulling in, and you got 10 minutes left on your clock. We would like you to stop a little sooner than that. But let's just say you got 10 minutes on your clock, and you're trying to get it into a space, right? You turn in, you set yourself up. Man, that is the time. That is the moment, and that is when you need to stop the truck. And that's when you need to put the flashers on, and you need to get out, back down, three-point stance, go back there, and see what's going on. I know it's the last mile. I know it's the last 100 feet. But those are important. Those are just as important as the first 100 feet that you take. The first step you take today and the last step you take today all need to be with safety in mind, safety in the forefront of what you're doing. And by doing that, you want to make sure that you can say to yourself, you can say to anyone, you can say to Buckle Up Bob in safety, you can say to anybody, you can say the thing, you know what? Are you sure you got out? Look, you can say, I know I got out. Look, because I do it every time.
Yep. So here's another suggestion too. This is coming from the top down, and Rick would say the same thing as well. So if you're coming in and you're tired, and you have a few minutes, don't get in a rush.
No.
You know what? There's paid parking at that place as well. In most places, correct?
There is. At
Okay.
truck stops, yeah.
Then I'd much rather spend $15 on you for your comfort and your safety and goal than pay for an incident or accident, right?
Absolutely.
So that's on the table, guys. It's typically $15.
It can be. It ranges depending on where you go and what region of the country.
Then get it done. If you feel it's too tight of a spot and you don't feel comfortable, call in to DMs, your DM, and get it done. I got it. I would much rather pay for $15 than for
Absolutely.
$5,000.
And you know, and that's the mindset that we have here.
And on top of everything else, we all know when you go to the shop, it is a different story right now. You got no parts, you got no labor, you got no nada, you got COVID excuse, you got this excuse. Let's stay away from the excuses. Let's set ourselves up to succeed.
Yeah, and Brian brings up a great point. I think a lot of what we see across the United States, it's not just our industry, it's every industry, right, Brian? It's,
don't get me started.
It's everything out there. It's a labor problem, it's a service problem, it's anything that requires labor is having a problem right now because there's not enough people doing the jobs in any capacity.
And if there is enough people to do the jobs, David,
there's not any parts.
There's not any parts. Or there's not enough labor to pull it out. There's not enough truck drivers to get it out of there.
Right.
Or there's not enough people to process.
Right.
It's just not happening right now.
And so that's with that being said, we want you to understand how important it is what you do efficiently and safely. Because your job out there is doing the much needed work out there in the industry. And by doing what you do and by practicing the safety, you're going to get more done and more efficiently done. Believe it or not, it's true. The numbers speak for themselves. And what we're saying, by being safest company, by being the safest station in the nation, we are the most efficient. We are the most effective, and we can be better at what we do by being safe 100% of the time because we don't have the incidences. We don't have the downtime. We don't have the insurance costs.
So speaking on downtime, I think that's where, you think about that. And I think Bob spoke about it. Buckle Up Bob has spoken about it plenty of times. And if you slow down just a little bit, how much are you losing?
Nothing.
You're losing nothing. Now, if you get an incident or accident, what are you losing then? Now you're losing a day, or you're losing. Well, hold up.
Oh, yeah.
Or you tear something up.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't get fixed. And now we look for a rental. There's no rentals out there.
And you got to exchange information.
So
and then you got to call Bob. And then you got to do. You got to get out your report done.
Even if it's not your fault, but you could have. There's different things we could have done probably to prevent that.
Right.
Put some more space.
Do everything we can.
Do everything we can on that end. And we do a great job. Do not get me wrong. But can we get better? Of course we can.
So we're at 21 days of Get Out and Look. We are at the precipice. We're at 3 weeks. We want to get through the month. We want to make it all the way through the end of the month, and we keep going further. But we're at 3 weeks, and we really want to emphasize the Get Out and Look today. We want to make sure everybody completely understands that today's the day. You may not have done it yesterday.
Hey, also.
And you may not have done it the day before, but do it today.
Also, this weekend, I think we have a whole lot of extra freight.
We do. We have, if you want to go somewhere, if you want to make some extra money, you want to run some extra miles, man, let your DM know today. We've got a ton of freight.
And we got a ton of freight to run safely.
Yes, it's what we do. Make sure that you do that. Make sure that you let everybody know.
And it's everywhere. I actually looked at the board this morning. I got in a little early because I knew somebody would be late. And so I came in here to help out David Dover a little bit.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. Absolutely. And freight everywhere, guys. You pick a state, and we pretty much got something going that way. So we need some help. We need some safe miles driven. We need to get you some more money. And by the way, your rate of pay on the company has changed August 8th. Do not forget that as well, guys.
All right, so we've got a lot going on, but make sure that everybody understands that what we're really here to emphasize today is the BCBs of trucking. And we want to make sure that what you're doing out there is the safest way to do it. We want you to understand that no matter what it is you do today, you are not in a hurry. You are not in a hurry. You do not have an excuse today to take shortcuts. You do not. You don't want that for yourself, and you don't want that for anybody out there on the road. You want to make sure that today you do it the right way. I don't care what you did yesterday. I don't care what you did the day before that. If you had made it, if you didn't get out and look, or if you didn't do what you had to do yesterday or today, you make sure that today's the day you make a difference. You make a difference not only in your life, but you make a difference in somebody else out there on the road. Whatever it is you do and however it is you do it, find a way to be important to somebody else today. And the way you do that is keeping them safe and yourself safe at the same time. Hey, it is Giveaway Friday. We're giving some money away.
I'm good. I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Let's roll.
Okay. Dylan, let's go. Let's give some cash away. It is the phrase that pays. What do you have out there, and who do you have for us?
Yeah, we got Alex Jones. Do you have that phrase that pays for us,
Alex.
sir?
What do you got for us? We want to hear what you have. Make sure you make yourself green. Let us know what's going on. What do you got?
Just saw you
Can
made.
you hear me all right?
Yep,
Yes,
we can hear you.
sir.
The 1 week I haven't been on the show. For the week.
Oh,
I've been
my
running
goodness.
tight route. The 1 week.
But thanks.
The
Hey,
1
man,
week.
keep listening.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right, buddy, keep listening.
Hey, be safe, Alex.
Be safe. It doesn't mean you can't be safe.
Oh, always.
All right, buddy.
Take care.
All right. Hey, let's try one more time. We got 2 more strikes. One more. Who do you got?
All right, we got Mike Smith. Do you know that phrase?
All right, Mike Smith, what do you got? Make yourself green, light yourself up, get on the air, and let's hear what you got to say.
Mike Smith.
Can you hear me?
What's up, Mike?
Affirmative.
Hey, I got it. I think I got it.
Come on.
Be aware of your situations to avoid all hazardous temptation.
All right. That right there, knowing what the phrase that pays, knowing, and hey, what does that mean to you because you've just won $100? Besides the money, what does the phrase mean to you?
You got to be aware of everything around you. Because all these crazy people out here driving fast and all this and cutting you off. I mean, you got to protect life and slow down, give everybody space to get around you, and just be aware of your situations around you.
Hey, well said, Mike Jones.
Smith.
Yes,
I know that.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a song, right? I'm sorry.
Hey, all right, hey, man, that is absolutely correct, and we will make sure that you're getting 100. Dylan is already sending the email to HR. With that, we are going to turn it over to the safety team.
Thank you for joining us. We're here with Chris Stewart, one of our awesome planers, and we're going to learn a little bit about him with a rapid fire. So are you ready?
A lot of pressure.
It is. But I want you to answer the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you the question.
Always ice cream.
But all else smells ice cream.
Yes.
What's your hidden talent?
Oh, shoot. Obviously none, because nothing came to mind real quick.
Fair
I'll
enough.
come back to that one.
What's the first concert you attended?
Gary Stewart.
What's your favorite book?
D-Day by Stephen Ambrose.
Nice. What does success mean to you?
Dollar signs.
Nice. Where's your happy place?
On the river. Down in New Braunfels.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Just be happy. Do what you love. Always be happy. I have a hard time doing that sometimes. Showing that.
Favorite vacation spot?
The beach. New Orleans, Las Vegas. Anywhere out of town.
Anywhere.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at first celebrity crush?
Oh, Kathy Ireland. Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue is where it's at.
Ariel or Jasmine?
Ariel.
Cake or pie?
Cake.
Lastly, Halloween costume.
Oh, the Flintstone.
Nice. Well, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Vietnam. No, how's that?
It's a good morning, Vietnam.
Good morning. BCB, which stands for Be Safe, Create Space, or Be Kind to Buckle Up Bob. Or courteous, I guess, would be kind with a C.
courteous.
Yeah, we'll go with courteous.
Yeah, kind starts with a K.
It actually, what you all are doing is what it stands for, and that is, right, be safe first. And we are at 80 days without a preventable accident and 21 on Get Out and Look, folks. Great job. Love to see them numbers grow like that. You know, that Get Out and Look, like I said, not only did we set a record this year, but we also we had like 2 consecutive over 30-day streaks right before that. So, and now we're ready to hit another one as well. So, great job, everybody. This week, and I forgot to print it off.
What'd you do?
Did you print it off? I do the week, and then I keep forgetting to do what I added. But hey, you know, we've been talking all week about school safety, and we've been focusing on the buses, you know, what to do with the students and the kiddos. And then just as kind of for any of the teenagers that might be listening, that have family members, parents that are working here, but for the parents too, hey, talk to your children, okay, your high school children, because here's some numbers that I gave today, and there's like 6, and there was like 30 of them on the site. But so I picked out some of the ones that just really jumped out. And so, hey, accidents are the leading cause of death for teens ages 15 to 19. That is just, I wouldn't have guessed it. I know they have a lot of accidents. I would not have guessed it was the #1 leading cause of death among our high schoolers, right? The risk of a fatal crash, and then that doubles, right? Not only is it the leading cause of death, but the fatal crash statistics double among teens if they're riding with other passengers. You know, a lot of states have enacted laws where if you're under the age of 21, I believe it is, or 18, you have to you have to have an adult with you. You can't have more than one passenger. And that statistic is right there is the reason why. 32.8% of high school students have all admitted to texting or while they're driving. You know, which again leads to the thing that, hey, drivers under the age 20 make up the largest portion of distracted drivers in the nation. I mean, and you can see most of them are teenagers. You know, a lot of these statistics hit home for me. My daughter buried 2 of her classmates in college that were killed texting, driving and not paying. One was texting and seeing the light went green, didn't look, and just rolled through the stop sign and somebody hit him. And so, again, you got to pay attention behind the wheel. And then 70% of young drivers involved in drinking and driving accidents weren't wearing their seatbelt. Folks, that's a law. I mean, it is a law in every state that I'm aware of. You've got to wear the seatbelt. Again, a lot of these things that we talk about is the safest way to do stuff, right? There's safe ways to do it. But the safest way is to wear your seatbelt, and that's because the numbers don't lie. Your odds go way up of surviving a crash if you're wearing your seatbelt. And then, this is an alarming one as well, folks. 33% of young drivers killed in accidents had a blood alcohol content of 0.01 or higher. The legal limit is 0.008, okay? So they were over that, you know, and folks, you know, one of the things to be transparent, when I was 23, I had a DUI. To be honest, it was probably the one night I probably didn't deserve one, but I was legally drunk. I was like 0.008003, you know. I had a couple beers, wasn't feeling well, so I quit drinking, was kind of being the designated driver. But, you know, I didn't get mad about that because there were plenty of times I deserved one that I didn't get caught. So, you know, the averages evened out. But the night I actually got mine, it was probably yes, I had a few beers, but it wasn't like I was drinking, I was 100% drunk. It was just one of those things that, you know, I rolled through a stop sign because a buddy of mine said he was sick. And then he said, no, I'm fine. So I rolled through the stop sign and the police pulled me over. They did the sobriety test out in the field. I passed it. He handcuffed me anyway, took me to the hospital, and then they found out I was 0.008003. So, I mean, I was just that hair above the legal limit. So, again, but as I said, 33% of the young drivers killed are actually at 0.01. And for many that don't know, depending on your body type and on all that, it does make a difference. But typically, what I found, because I had to go through this training, right? If you drink 2 beers an hour, you will be legally drunk. So just so you know. The other thing that many don't realize is, you know, what has more alcohol? And I'll put this up to the producer, maybe he knows, or Dale. What has more alcohol? A 12-ounce bottle of beer, a shot of whiskey, or a 7-ounce glass of wine?
That's a good question. I mean, because beer has changed so much today, so has the wine, the hard seltzers. I mean, there's so many different things, but I would probably say the beer is probably the.
How about you, producer?
I'm going to say it's a trick question that they all have the same amount.
Bingo. They all have the same amount. But what happens is you drink, you know, people would normally say whiskey, right? Because they get drunk quicker. Well, that's because you're down in an ounce a lot faster than it's going to take. You can have 3 or 4 shots in a matter of 20 minutes, right? And it's going to take you that long to drink 3 or 4 beers. So again, you know, you just drink it faster. So the mixed drinks usually hit you. Same with wine. You know, to a lot of people, not me, I'm not a big wine connoisseur, but a lot of people can drink wine like it's Kool-Aid, right? And so you're drinking it faster. Beer, usually fills me up before I get too drunk. I usually get full and I'm ready to go to sleep before I'm ready to get really seriously obliterated. So, hey, parents, talk to your kids as they go back to school. There's going to be that peer pressure. You know, it's like any other thing that's not good for our kiddos, that they're going to be pressured into trying it or doing this. Just have them responsible, right? Make sure that, hey, if somehow they absolutely do it, don't get in a car with other teenagers. Don't drive by themselves. Have them call you. This is where you can be probably the best. One night I came home drunk, and it was the best my dad ever told me. He just finally grounded me, but then let me off a week to go to a school dance and said, look, if you're going to be man enough to drink, and my dad never swore a lot, then you better be effing man enough to know when to effing stop, you know? And I'm like, yes, Father, right? But it was the first time he treated me like an adult, right? Instead of like a kid. And the words just really rang true. Now, did I drink and get drunk? Yeah, of course. But I was a little bit more careful and cautious about it, but and made sure I had a designated driver. That was the one thing that I really got was I always had a safe drive home, way home after that. So, folks, hey, as we get back going to school, new drivers on the road, we talked about the school bus laws, right? And then just realize that these teenagers have a lot going on. This is the first time. This is a privilege for them. And they don't, it's like a new toy, right? And they don't know how to respect it yet. And that's where you've got to be the good, strong parent and teach them that respect for these automobiles, how to drive, you know, out there on the road and be mindful of how many of them are distracted. So with that, we're going to take a little break and come right back with some weather. All right, hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Buckle Up Bob. Time for a little bit of weather. Kind of as we forecast, there's just not a lot going on. I mean, it's just heat is what we're going to see. But you can see there's some scattered showers down here in southern Houston there, getting close to the McAllen, the Corpus Christi area. A few showers back here in Georgia and South Carolina. We got some here along the Mississippi River up there in Davenport, Iowa, and Iowa City coming down. The Quad Cities, and then into, I believe that St. Joseph, Missouri is over there, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since Kirksville. So, and then again up there in Nebraska as well. And just a few scattered in Arkansas and the Panhandle. We got a little bit back here in Idaho, so they're getting some fires going into Wyoming, so that should help them. Our wind, as we forecast yesterday, it's just not a lot going on. And it doesn't get much worse, so. Here in the afternoon where it usually kicks, oh, I lied, they changed it. Yesterday, this wasn't there, was it? So again, we're going to see some wind kicks up. What are we looking at? Currently, we got some 20 miles just south of Salt Lake. That is not gusting, so them are just straight line winds currently right now. But as the day goes by, we are going to get some strong winds. This purple, right? There, you can see some potential for 52-mile-an-hour gusts. Folks, we don't drive in 50-mile-an-hour gusts. We really don't drive once we get above 40, all right, because of the fact that, hey, and then you got to play the weight. If you're heavy and you feel safe, okay, then you've got to slow down 15 to 20 miles under the posted. So you've got to be keeping it down in that 50 to 55-mile-an-hour range if you're driving and you're heavy. If you're light, we've got to get off the road if we see these gusts. Now, these are just forecasts, but you can see coming out of Denver, Colorado, going into Salt Lake, maybe if we're going up northwest, the potential this afternoon is for 52-mile-an-hour gusts, 48 to 50. So we're in that above 45-mile-an-hour gusts if you're driving there and if this comes to fruition as it's forecasted. Again, sometimes they don't, but what I can tell you is we're probably going to see the 35 to 40. Typically, they're at 8 to 10 miles under what's forecast, but every once in a while, they hit the nail on the head, and it's actually more. We really want to watch that as the winds go today. Let's see if they start to die down as they normally do in the evening. And, yeah, they do. Still kind of windy, though, but they do start to die down around 10. And at 3 a.m., again, pretty much just a little bit here on Albuquerque on 40 there. And then tomorrow afternoon for your Saturday, not quite as bad out there in the west and not as strong, but you're going to see some winds in that panhandle of Oklahoma, Texas, also up here into Kansas. So, again, watch that if you're in that area. And then out here on the mountain ranges, you can see the winds kick up. Rest of the country, pretty good. But the key is going to be the temperatures. So as we can see today, you can see a little bit less than yesterday when we had the 115s, the 120s. Right now, the forecast is still in triple digits in Vegas to Phoenix. We can see 89 in Dallas at 3 o'clock. So again, a little warmer. Yesterday was in the 80s. Tomorrow afternoon, again, much of the same. The forecast didn't change a whole lot. 106, 103, 91. So Oklahoma City's going to be hotter. Kansas, 97 potential. So St. Louis, 93. And tell me, folks, when I tell you that 93 is worse than 105 here in Texas, I'm just going to tell you. There'll be no humidity. And as we've seen, there's no wind forecasted either. And that's what he's going to do. The humidity will kill you. So, again, we got some decent weather. Just remember, watch the tires on these long trips. Stop for some extra breaks maybe. Give your tires a break. Check them often, right? Make sure something hasn't changed in the condition of that. So, again, that's your weather. We'll be right back and go right into some videos for you, everybody.
Hi, this is Drive Safe Dave. We're here this afternoon. We're going to show the proper way that BCB drops a trailer, whether it be on the yard or a customer or anywhere. We're going to show how we do it. That way we all do it together exactly the same way and there's no confusion. All right, here we go. Here's DJ getting out of the truck, and he's going to demonstrate the proper BCB way to drop a trailer anywhere. Notice how DJ is placing one hand on the trailer while he's cranking for support and to keep from hurting his back. He's going to walk to the back and show exactly what not to do when you drop the trailer. Notice how he's cranking hard on the trailer legs, trying to lift the trailer, and in essence, he's lifting the tractor. DJ is dumping the airbags, lowering the weight onto the legs of the trailer, and then he's going to release the kingpin and pull out from underneath the trailer smoothly. You'll pick up the trailer, lay it in, it's not too low, it's at the perfect height, so when he comes in, all the pressure will be off of the landing gear. Good job. As DJ backs up underneath the trailer, he's picking it up off of the legs. Notice how you're not pushing on the legs, you're actually pushing on the tandems and the wheels and the brakes, what it is intended to do. What he's done is he's taken all the pressure off the legs, he's lifted it, and he's only tugged on the trailer. He hasn't tugged on the legs to the landing gear. He's only tugged the rear brakes. Now we know that the vehicle is secure to the tractor, and that way, all he's got to do is hook up his airlines, do his pre-trip, and he's good to go. Safety can be seen just about anywhere.
All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. And yes, that is a video of Drive Safe Dave actually working. There's not much footage out there of that, but when we do get a chance to film Drive Safe Dave working, we take advantage of it because a lot of people just don't believe it happens, right? All right. What you got? Go ahead, Dale.
Hey, let's go ahead and take a look at some videos and see what we got there. This first one here is really kind of scary and want to open it up for a discussion afterwards because we are on I-45 and that vehicle was on the third lane. It's 3 lanes right here, and if we watch this again, there is a vehicle on our lane coming at us. Our driver sent this in. Daniel Bass sent this one in. And so it's kind of a scary thing. And so, what do? You pull over, you slow down, you get over as far as you can. That is a scary situation right there.
Yeah, and we want to talk about this because, again, Daniel, this is not picking on anybody, but what concerns us here is we've got this, and I know you've got to make a decision, but the speed, I think he slows down based by the way the dashes go, but it's probably not quick. We probably need to have a hard brake here and really get it down, take as much speed out of the equation, because at this point, we know there's a driver in the wrong highway. What we don't know is are they drunk or impaired, right? And so you've got to take one of the rules are, and it's one that I think everybody agrees with, you do get as far to the right as you can, and you take as much speed out of the equation. And you kind of angle. You don't get just off to the side. You angle so that there's not a head-on collision. That also takes some of the force away. So, hey, what can we learn from this? Man, you got to be alert at all times. But, hey, don't forget, in your shock and all, right, slow it down. Get as much speed. I want to see a hard brake here because it's not a bad one, and get that speed out of the equation.
You know, this one here, it's like, you know, big picture, you can't get distracted because, you know, there's brake lights on the other two lanes, and all of a sudden we're coming up to stop traffic, and we do have a hard brake. We do get stopped in plenty of time. But again, you know, we have to be aware of what's going on all the time. Can't let ourselves get distracted. If we look over to the right-hand lane, those cars are already stopping and braking, so we can assume that the other lanes are going to also brake, and there are some brake lights there. So, you know, we got stopped in plenty of time. That's a great thing. Our speed was very manageable. Our space started out fantastic, and so we just don't lose that focus.
Yeah, great stop. This looks like maybe westbound on 40 going into West Memphis, Arkansas. Because the big city looks like that's not a big city up there, so I think Memphis.
Port Allen, Louisiana.
Oh, this is Louisiana.
Yeah,
okay.
this is going in Louisiana, and so. You know, like I said, you get across a bridge, a river, there's always barges and stuff to look at. It's easy to get distracted, so you just always have to stay focused on that.
Great job. There, you can see there's plenty of space there. Super job.
You know, this is one just a nice job of speed and space management. You know, like I said, there wasn't much out there yesterday. There were no stability events on any of the videos yesterday, so that's
2
a
days
great
in a
thing.
row.
So, you know, this driver's just doing a great job. We're going a little bit slower. We're probably running about 55, 56 miles an hour, probably in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. Plenty of lanes of traffic.
And here comes crazy. Look at this.
Well, there's always that. I mean, you know, so, but driver's just doing a great job owning the space in front of him and managing his speed and that. So, great job, driver.
All drivers, folks, this is what we're talking about. We want every carrier to be safe, not just ours. And so we're hoping that there's some of you that work for another company, or maybe there's other companies that can go back and talk to their drivers about the speed and space management.
You know, here's another just a great example of our driver, heads up, big picture type thing. Great space management right here. Sees the brake lights come on the vehicle ahead of him in his lane. Starts slowing down immediately. Keeps that space, you know, very, very big space. Does a great job of that, managing speed and space. Vehicle gets off, and our driver picks up the speed.
Is that 35 up in Texas?
Yeah,
up by Sanger area?
Yeah, Valley, Texas, I believe.
Yeah.
Valley View, Texas.
Yeah.
So
Valley View, that's it.
Yeah.
I remember that grain mill sitting on the side of the highway.
And traffic's always crazy up in there.
It is, and I think the speed limit somewhere in there, as you start getting closer to Gainesville, is 75 miles an hour through there as well. All right. Hey, some good videos. Does anybody got anything for us on this wonderful Friday? It's really a thankful Friday today as well, because 2 days in a row, we've had some decent videos. Yeah. Awesome. Who we got there, producer?
Yeah, we got David Mason and then Jeff Marsh. So, Mr. Mason, what do you got for us?
Good morning, gentlemen. I just want to say on that, I kind of halfway agree with Bob on the slowing down, but on the hard brake in that situation, I think because it's 3 lanes and wider, when you notice it, you really pay attention and keep your focus on what he's going to do, and you let off the throttle and lead the speed off slowly because it's so wide. On a 2-lane highway or something, I completely 100% agree with Bob, but on a wide highway like that, if there is someone behind you and you do a hard brake, like we said yesterday on the stoplight, or on that one with the tractor trailer sticking out across the road, in that median, if there's someone behind you, lots of times their first instinct is they see your brakes on a wide highway like that. They can't see that car coming. They whip out to the left. And so I think on a wide open highway like that, you let off the throttle, you bleed your speed off. You really watch what that person's doing and pay attention to if there is anybody behind you, maybe, and start to ease to the shoulder to open up that view for people, but maybe not completely hard brake in that situation.
Well, and keep in mind, don't lump hard brake into stopping on a dime, okay? A hard brake is strictly you lost 10 miles an hour in a split second, okay? And so that hard brake is okay, but I get what you're saying. But you got to remember the one thing, folks. Yes, we want to worry about people behind us, but the first line of defense is you protect yourself. If somebody is tailgating you, you cannot control that. What you have to do is speed kills. And so you've got to get as much speed out of that. And let's face it, when we watched that video, we had about 5 seconds. So you've got to get, again, I'm not saying whenever you say hard brake, everybody thinks you're going from 60 to 5. That's impossible, okay? But a hard brake is 10 miles an hour in a split second. So you want to hit them brakes a little hard, maybe let up, pump them hard and let up, and then pump them hard again. But again, you've got 5 seconds to get as much speed out of that. And again, I applaud for thinking about the people behind you, but that does no good if you're killed. Then people are still behind you and they're still going to hit you. So again, I get where it's come from, but I still think the safest thing to do is you get as much speed out of that equation, because what we do know is 10 miles an hour makes a difference. 20 miles an hour makes even a bigger difference. 30 miles an hour even makes more. And so you got to get as much speed out of that, because again, you don't know if this person's impaired. And you know what? I'd rather have the person behind me rear end me at a slower speed than get hit head on by a drunk or impaired driver. Who else we got?
Yeah, we got Jeff Marsh, then Jim Jones. So what do you got for us, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, yeah, we're always talking about the red lights and everything. I'm over here in Alabama. I just left Jack, Alabama a while ago. I'm over here on 231, and I was turning on the 231. I was off 167, I think, or something like that. Anyway, we were at red light. I was looking off because I was stopped at a red light, so I was kind of looking off and everything. And then I noticed the car next to me started to take off. I look up, and the light's green, and we got green arrow, and it's solid green. And boom, there goes a pickup truck right through the red light. If anybody had taken that time, if anybody had taken off without that 3-second hold, then they would have been hit by that pickup truck and everything. And the second thing is I tried to mention this yesterday and I forgot to, but we can Dale's name can be Still Green Dale. How's that?
Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Who else we got? Jim Jones?
You there?
Yeah, Jim.
I just want to defend that driver in that first video because, like you said, Bob, he had 5 seconds.
Yeah.
The first 3 of that, you're not even believing what the heck you're seeing.
You're right.
The last 2 of it, the last 2 of it, it's too late.
Well,
you don't know whether it's hard, but you don't know what to do. That guy's coming. It's dark. All you see is light.
Yeah.
It's like you think where they are. You're not sure what the heck you're seeing. You don't want to slam on the brakes. You've got freight back there. You've got all kinds of things back there. You don't want to slam on the brakes and then all of a sudden find out, my God, how stupid I was. And then it's like, so the first 3 seconds, you don't know. The last 2 seconds, it's gone. So, I mean, I just put myself in that situation. I don't know as I would have done anything different. So I'm just going to stop there and say thank you.
Yeah, and that's fine. Again, we talk about these things so you can be prepared if that happens. You know, you go years without this situation, and all of a sudden you're thrust into it, okay? We're talking about these. We are not blaming the driver for doing anything wrong. We're saying the safest option, okay? The safest option. And so, you know, one thing I would, I guess, disagree with, it's never too late, okay? When you're trying to protect your life first and that of that motorist, that's the first thing that's got to think about. Anything else is secondary because, as you said and pointed out, and I think you made a great point that I wasn't thinking about. Yeah, we had 5 seconds in the video, but like you said, the first 2 or 3, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah,
you know,
they're really in my lane. You're on side.
It's disbelief. And so, but I don't believe it's ever too late because, again, if I'm doing 70 and in the last 2 seconds I can bring it down to 50, I have improved the life thing. I'm not saying you're going to lock them up. Okay, folks, you got to understand what a hard brake is. It's simply 10 miles an hour reduction in a split second. That is not locking them up, okay? We do it all the time because we see the videos on the sudden deceleration and without anything. So again, I'm not saying you lock them up. I'm saying you take as much speed out of the equation as you can. And again, that may only be 1 second. You know, we had a video several months ago where a driver just trusted his instincts, thought something went wrong. The SUV was out of our picture and started to slow down and had it down to about 35 when all of a sudden this vehicle is spinning out of control backwards into us. And he hit the brakes again and was able to be going about 8 miles an hour when that vehicle hit us, all in a matter of about 10 seconds. So again, what we show these videos is not to blame the driver, folks. Just because we see of a different way, that's what we talk about. We did it yesterday. We talk about these, and if at the end of the day, if you disagree, that is fine. But at least you're thinking about this situation so that when or if, God forbid, it happens to you, maybe it pops into your head a little sooner versus going, oh, crap, what do I do? Right? And because you've already thought about it, we've talked about it. So again, I'm not saying, Jim, that anything's wrong or right in this situation. Again, our driver did a great job. We just said, hey, what we would have liked to have saw is a little bit of more speed being taken out of the equation. Because what we do know is speed kills. And again, you're right. I can't predict. Nobody can predict how many seconds you have to reduce that speed. Just because the video shows 5 seconds of seeing the headlight, you're 100% right. One of the things you got to realize is, hey, the first 2 to 3 seconds is disbelief. It's like, what the heck's going on, right? Who we got?
Yeah, Mr. Alan Arnold, what do you got?
Hey, Alan.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Bob, Mr. Dill, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Bob, I got a serious question, all right? Are you ready for it?
I guess.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I just got to know, where did you get that shirt? Because I'm going to go golfing here soon, and I need one. I like that shirt, all right?
I was in a Hawaii mood today and was dreaming about wanting to be on a beach in Hawaii.
Yeah,
I've been there twice, and I love Hawaii.
It's Casual Friday, and how casual is that?
Yeah. I got my little Beach Boys vibe going on. By the way, they were big when I was a youngster, so all of you that don't know who the Beach Boys are, they transcend time. What is it, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I think they even had a hit in the 80s. Was it Kokomo in the 80s?
Yep.
So, I mean, you stop and think, what group can have #1 hits in 4 different decades?
Rolling Stones.
No, Beatles were not doing it in the 80s.
Rolling Stones.
Beatles came on in the 60s and the 70s. So I'm going to say maybe Elvis had 50s, 60s, and 70s. Stevie Wonder probably.
Stones weren't the 50s, but they were 60s, 70s, 80s, probably 90s.
But I think the Beach Boys might be the only group to have a #1 hit in 4 different decades. That'd be a great trivia question.
We'll have to check it out.
And there may be others out there, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, somebody that's pretty
Everybody
obscure.
knows the Beach Boys. So, thank you, Alan. I was wondering where that serious question was going to go. We got anybody else, Mr. Producer?
Yeah, Monica Roser, what do you got for? Oh, never mind. You lowered your hand. That I believe that's all we got here.
Yeah, hey, folks, I really hope you understand the purpose of the show. It's not to point the finger at a driver. We see a situation just because our driver did a good job, which he did in this case. It's like, what can we learn? Is there anything we can do better? You know, that's what it is. Again, you got to remember the goal. The goal is they're safe, they're safer, and there's the safest. And that's what we're trying to do. What's your thoughts on the safest operation? We do have to play the what if game. I get that. But as you said, you cannot play a lot of what if game in 2 seconds. What you have to know is the #1 factor is to protect your life. And the way to do that is get the speed out of it as quick as possible. Now, I'm not saying you got to lock them up and jackknife and freight and all that. Yes, that's a factor. But you got to slow down as quick as possible. I guess the point I was trying to get is don't just bleed off the speed by letting off the throttle. You're not going to slow down faster than you can. You know, you can still take another 5 to 10 miles out of that equation. And with that in cruise, we already know that just 10 miles reduction can increase your probability of surviving by 25 to 30%. That's a lot, right? And if you can take 20, it goes even bigger. So what we're saying is, please listen. A lot of guys get hung up on what we're saying, and they try to take it literal instead of look at the big picture. The big picture, all we're saying is get as much speed out as possible. Nobody said lock them up. We said a hard brake. Okay, a hard brake doesn't mean you're locking them up and coming to a dead stop in 3 seconds. It means, hey, get the speed out as quick, and it's okay if you hard brake. If you can do it without hard braking, great, more power to you. But a hard brake is nothing more than 10 miles an hour in a split second. Okay, that's all that is. So again, Yeah, but I thought the one point that was made that I wasn't thinking was, yeah, we had 5 seconds in a video, but in real time, if anybody's ever watched the movie Sully, right? You ever watch that when he got tried? And he pointed it out. He says, look, you already know the outcome, so you're already planning to do this, this, and this, and then yes, you make it. But when you're up there, you lose 1.5 to 2 seconds processing, right? And when they took them seconds out, they all agreed the plane would have crashed. And so that's a thing. It's like, so I think, Jim, one of the points you brought up that was just dead spot on is, hey, you know what? May have showed 5 seconds of video, but I really didn't have 5 seconds to react. And you're right. And that's the thing we got to remember too, as we watch these videos. Hey, we see the 5 seconds, but how much of actual reaction time did we have? And it's usually, we lose 2 to 3. We already know that it takes you on average, 1 second to process a situation. That's on average. That means there's some situations like this one where it might be 2 to 3. So great points. Folks, we got to keep talking about it. It's okay to disagree. If you come out of after these discussions and say, I'm not changing a thing, that's your call. But at least you've thought about all the scenarios now and you still feel that another way is the safest. Remember, we're not looking for the safe option. We're looking for the safest for you first. Then we worry about the people behind us. But right now, the only 2 people that matter is you and that person coming on head on in that particular video. So, all right. Hey, everybody. With that, we are going to be back this afternoon with everybody. Have a blessed day. Great week again as we are at 80 days without a preventable and 21. Get out and look.
I want to rock! Hey, so welcome to BCB Live, everybody. That is Gypsy Joe, straight out of Sweet Virginia, joining us today. The producer is here, behind the board, running things for us, getting the show rolling. And what do you think of the new intro, Joe? I know we debuted it last week, but we didn't really talk about.
I think it should start with Rick saying, I want to rock, and then go into the music.
You might be right. We'll try that next time. Maybe we did it backwards. It was just kind of an experiment today. I told Dylan last week, I said, is there any way we can clip that and use it? Because I'd like to use that some other time. But yeah, you're right. We could do that. Or yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the Rockopedia. I like the logo and the music in the background and the introduction to it. And then yeah, so hey everybody, welcome to BCB Live. I'm Music Man Mike. It is August 3rd, 2021. Let's just get this out of the way real quick. Yesterday was my birthday. So
your birthday again, Mike.
I was telling somebody this the other day too. You talk about your birthdays and what do they mean, and you get to be 30. And I remember turning 30, and I think, God, this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be weird turning 30, and it didn't. It was nothing. And then I turned 31, and that's when it hit me. Dude, I'm in my 30s now. When you're 30, you're not in your 30s, I guess. But at 31, I was officially in my 30s, so that kind of hit me hard, 31. 40 and 50 wasn't real active. It wasn't real, and it didn't jump out at me. There's nothing memorable about 40 and 50. It just kind of rolled by. But last week, I got to thinking about the dates and everything. I said, well, August 2nd's coming up. That means I got a birthday coming. What day is that? It's going to be on a Monday. I looked at the calendar, and I'm going to be 57. Now, 57, all of a sudden in that moment last week, sounds like 60 to me.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it does. 55, 56, I get. 57, that's
yeah, and
a step in the wrong direction, Mike.
And it's stuck in my head. I can't get out of it. I thought about it last week. It hit me hard, and I've been thinking about it every day. 57. I can't believe it. But anyway, had a great time this weekend. I went out to dinner with the wife, and then kids came over. I mean, it was an eventful weekend for my birthday. Now, yesterday was a Monday. It's hard to celebrate on your birthday Monday, and a lot of work here at the office. So we didn't do anything, but we may carry over part 2 with the family next weekend sometime. A lot of birthdays in August. Mom's birthday is this month. Our stepdad Marty's birthday was August 1st. The producer's birthday,
August 1st for the producer. Dale Kellen that works
Wow.
here, August 2nd. I mean, lots of August birthdays. So, and we talked last week about we talked about Lollapalooza. We talked about festivals. We talked about Phoenix. And we're going to kind of carry that over into this week's show and talk some more about Lollapalooza and just maybe some upcoming festivals, some new stuff that's out there on the horizon for music lovers. And then we had a loss. So we kind of changed the show topic today, and we're going to focus a little bit on, well, not a little, a lot, on ZZ Top and the bass player Dusty Hill, who passed away at the age of 71, I believe, last week. And that kind of hit the music community pretty hard. I know it hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't even know about it until the next day. Someone at work told me because I brought up that the singer of Metal Church died, and the drummer from Slipknot,
The original Slipknot
one,
drummer passed away.
yeah,
also.
he died.
Yeah.
And then someone said, and Dusty Hill died, and I was like, "What? When did that happen? I didn't even know this happened." Like, yeah, it happened yesterday. I didn't even know.
Well, I saw the original thing that I saw that brought it to my attention that he was even sick was there was a post from ZZ Top on their Facebook page saying that he was having some kind of a hip surgery and that they, all of us, and including the band, were praying for his return and everything was going to get well and get better. And they weren't going to cancel the show. In Dusty's words, the show must go on. They have a roadie that's been with them for 20-some years. He knows all the songs. He probably knows all the moves. They were going to use him on these first shows, and I think that this week the tour started. They were going to use him on these shows to get going while Dusty was home rehabbing, and then he could come back and join the tour as soon as he felt like he could, play on his feet or be in a show for an hour, or hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever their shows are these days. And that was the day before. I read that on one day, and the next day I come in, and one of my coworkers said, "Did you hear Dusty Hill died?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I thought he was home trying to get better." But yeah, so that happened last week, and it just, I know I looked on Twitter and Instagram and all those places, and you see tributes going out from all kinds of people. Nancy Wilson was one of them. All these people that we grew up listening to, they knew each other because they toured together. They did festivals together. They knew each other.
Yeah, they all played together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nancy had some pretty good stories about Dusty and ZZ Top. Paul Stanley of Kiss came out and gave his tribute to him, and that he's going to be missed, and what kind of a guy he was, just a solid, down to earth guy, and he's praying for his family and the fans and the rest of the band, of course, and through this difficult time. But Paul said he remembers when they first started out, they were opening for ZZ Top. They would open for ZZ Top. That's how they got to know each other. And then, of course, as time goes by, in the last 10, 15 years, I believe it was, ZZ Top opened for Kiss, and it was just kind of it wasn't because one was better than the other. It was just to produce a good show at a good ticket price.
Yeah, Aerosmith did that with Kiss also. That was a thing they did. They opened for Kiss.
Yeah. That's why I was telling Dylan. I said, well, even David Lee Roth was doing the Vegas shows with them. As recently as 4 years ago, whatever, before COVID started, they did their stint in Vegas, and he was opening for them every night.
Yeah,
just makes for a more attractive.
He's at that point though, because let's face it, when was the last time you heard a David Lee Roth song on the radio?
Yeah.
It was from the last 20 years.
Yeah, no, nobody's going to go to a place that big and see David Lee Roth. There are people still going to probably go see him, but I don't know what kind of venue he's going to be playing to get that kind of attention. But yeah, with the ZZ Top thing, them opening for Kiss, I was telling Dylan as well that if you have two good bands playing and general admission seating, you got not general admission but reserved seating, then there's a reason to show up early. If you got a band you never heard of opening up for a big name band and you got reserved seating, you're probably just going to wait till showtime. It's just different than it used to be.
When we went to go see Trillion open up for Aerosmith.
Yeah. Because you wanted to get in there and get a good
time.
Yeah, you wanted to go in there and claim your ground. You wanted to get a good place to stand, to hang out. Yeah. Be comfortable or get a good seat if you wanted to sit. But we stood 90% of the time, but every once in a while we'd go with a big crowd of people or whoever, somebody wanted to sit down, and we'd sit down as long as we got good seats. But yeah, so anyway, we lost Dusty Hill. Dusty was born Joseph Michael Hill in Dallas, Texas, He did pass away the other day in his home in Houston, Texas. And I believe his funeral is today at 12 o'clock noon. And I'm not sure if that's going to be in Dallas or Houston, but it's somewhere here in Texas. His wife was
That's
on.
probably going to be a pretty big deal down there.
Oh, yeah.
I would guess.
Yeah, there'll be some. If there's not coverage somewhere already, I'm here at work, so I don't get to do a lot of social networking until I get a chance later on today or lunchtime or something like that. But yeah, there's probably some coverage going on right now. I mean, not coverage, so to speak, like live TV, but there's people that know exactly where it's at, what's going on, the celebrities that are there, who showed up for it and all that kind of stuff. But yesterday, I got home from work and I was looking through the Facebook, and Dusty's wife had got onto his face, or the ZZ Top page, I should say, and she wrote a little tribute out to him. I read it last night, and it's pretty revealing. It's pretty touching. It's nice of her to share it, and she says it in there. She decided to step up and get into the spotlight a little bit because she felt like that's what he would want. And it's a good way to communicate with the fans and give them a little more insight, because we're all walking around going, "What happened? What happened?" And the story we heard was he passed away peacefully in his sleep. Well, she was there that night, and she had a little more to say to it than that. But she does mention also that 12 o'clock noon today is when she's going to lay her husband to rest. I didn't want to take a chance reading it again today here on the air because I got a little choked up last night when I was reading it. There's a chance I could pull it off, but I didn't want to risk it. So I'm gonna have the producer read that. I'm gonna have the producer read that. This is from Dusty's wife yesterday on Facebook.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm here. Don't mind the black eye, hence why I'm not here on the show today. But so this is courtesy of Dusty's wife. After 19 wonderful years of marriage that ended too soon, I've decided to step out into Dusty's spotlight to thank all of his fans, colleagues, and friends for the overwhelming outpouring of love for the Dust. It makes me hopeful he will not be forgotten. He was the kindest, most gentle and caring man a woman could ever hope to find in a lifetime. Many don't believe in fairy tale marriages, but Dusty and I truly lived one. We were inseparable. He wasn't supposed to leave me or all of you. That wasn't the plan he and I had. The plan was for another round of physical therapy with a different approach to help his chronic bursitis. I hope that I pronounced that right. The plan was he would return to the second leg of the tour in September. Early Wednesday morning, my world and yours would lose a great musician, and I would lose my greatest love. He woke me up, and we talked, and as he was sweetly chatting with me, he suddenly stopped, and he was gone in an instant. So while I feel numb and lost and alone and in a million pieces, I know he will always be with me in my heart and soul, and I will join him when the Lord calls me home to be with him. It is my hope you will always keep him in your hearts. He loved his fans and always remembered that without fans, music is not heard. So, know he truly appreciated each and every one of you. Dusty was an avid TV and movie buff, always quoting lines, and so I share an embellished quote from This Is Us as my last love letter I send with him to his final resting place. My sweet Dusty, the single most extraordinary thing I have ever done in my life is fall in love with you. The single most extraordinary gift I have ever received in my life was for you to ask me to marry you. I have never been so completely loved so passionately and protected so fiercely. I will be with you again. Love you to infinity and back. Your wife, Chuck. I will lay my husband to rest tomorrow. I would ask that you look to the heavens at noon.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, that's great. It's it makes me like, I don't know, these guys always seem really down to earth to me. Not like they went through Hollywood types or anything like that. You know what I mean? So like to see that he had a really happy life, and it sounds like that his wife enjoyed his company and he enjoyed hers, and that's really everything.
Yeah, I think it's kind of neat in these times of social media that we live in now. I mean, if this would have happened to anybody else at 30 years ago, when we were in our 20s, you never would have got to see something like that unless it was on Entertainment Tonight or something like that, But
it wouldn't have been.
No, no, it was just too. I think social media even changes the way people think about sharing things with each other, because let's just say it was 20,
We're
30
down to
years
2.
ago,
It's raining.
and this happens, you don't feel the need to share because there's no social media to share it with. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, she knows there's a fan base out there, and they're watching all these outlets, and they want to see something. So that kind of probably is her inspiration to write what she wrote. But
And also at the same time, it probably makes her feel like it's her responsibility to do that.
Mhm.
Which she shouldn't feel that way. No one should, but I'm sure that's part of it.
I didn't have time to look it up and see what her actual name is, but she signed off as Chuck. So I'm guessing maybe that's a Charlene or.
I wouldn't know. That's kind of what I'm saying. I don't know. I've never seen a picture of them together. That's not their brand. You know what I mean? That's not what they do.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he's been married to the same woman all this time and been a rock star at the same time.
Yeah, she posted a picture of them. I know I'd never seen her before, but that's just like you said, the kind of life they led. It was very private. I think if there was any flash and flair to them, it wasn't their idea. They went along with it. Remember when the Eliminator tour, when the Eliminator came out, and we're talking MTV, ZZ Top on MTV, which nobody thought would ever happen. You go back 5 years before MTV, and they're saying, ZZ Top's going to be all over this thing. I said, no, they're not.
They're going to be huge on MTV one day.
No, there's no way ZZ Top's going to work into that. That's for Journey.
Yeah.
But
for
yeah,
Sticks.
So I think that was probably the record company pushing them into the spotlight a little bit. Take pictures, getting out of cars, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really them, but it sure helped build the sales. And
well, that's always been my thing with ZZ Top is like when Eliminator came out, I liked it, but I had just seen them like 6 months before that, and it hadn't been out yet, so it wasn't any songs they played. It was all like a greatest hits kind of thing that they did. They just did a small like holiday tour. Wichita was one of the stops. But it just seemed like after that point, when Eliminator came out, the next 3 albums sounded exactly the same. Yeah. They were like synthesizer driven, I guess just keyboard driven more so. And I don't know, they just had a distinct sound to them. And I liked the first album, but then I got sick of hearing it all the time. And then after that, I just stopped listening to ZZ Top.
Yeah.
I don't. They didn't seem the same anymore.
The thing about stopping and listening to them is probably something I did as well, because I looked through their discography before I came in here, and I was just doing a little research and trying to remember some things from back then. And it was interesting. I read the story about their first, the first album was called ZZ Top's first album. Then they worked their butts off and recorded. They toured. They did one big tour in the mid '70s in the mid '70s, they did a big tour, Texas Worldwide Tour, they called it. I don't know where all they went. I don't know if they really went around the world or they just called it the Texas Worldwide Tour. But
they said they wanted to bring Texas to America.
Yeah.
They wanted to show America what Texas was about.
And I think
apparently they had cattle on the stage.
They had cattle on the stage. Yeah, they had livestock. Yeah, every city they went to.
It was so crazy.
Probably had a longhorn out there. You got to have a longhorn on. If you're going to take one out there, it might as well be a longhorn because they're pretty cool and very prominent here in Mansfield, Dallas-Fort Worth area. You can drive around and get outside of town to a farmer's field or a pasture, and there's going to be a longhorn out there somewhere, along with the other cattle. But yeah, the cool part about it was I read that, and here's one thing I didn't know. After that, they were just burnt out. And they hadn't really made it big yet. Now that was on the last album before their 3-year break was Tres Hombres, and Tres Hombres had LaGrange on it. So that was the beginning of okay, here we go. Now we finally hit our stride. This is gonna take off, and it did. You couldn't get away from. Back then it was AM radio, shortly getting ready to turn into FM for the most part. But back then it was AM radio, and you couldn't get away from the radio without hearing LaGrange in your car or at the house. But after that is when they took the breaks. They take a 3-year break, and they come back with what? They come back with the DeGuello album. And they changed record labels as well. So they got burnt out. They got tired of the record company. They found a better deal or a new deal, whatever, just breathed some new life into the band. And they went and recorded the DeGuello album. And that's the first time I got to see him. And that was in Shreveport, Louisiana at Hearst Memorial Coliseum. And I think I was 15. I may have been 14. I was either 14 or 15. and I did the math on it. That makes Dusty, when I saw him for the very first time as a teenager, he was 30 years old. So, you know, when you're 15, a 30-year-old looks old. So
Yeah, they do.
yeah, here's these old dudes that are just rocking it up there. And I didn't know what to expect. You know, I knew a handful of songs, but the people that were there, they were older than me. You know, me and you were going to concerts at 14, 15, 16 years old, and we were some of the youngsters in there because we wanted to see some of the older bands. We didn't necessarily follow the trend so much, but the people that were there, now these people were in their mid-20s. They were fully grown up. They probably had every album. They knew every song. I didn't have that luxury. So what I was listening to was Rush and Van Halen. I was listening to Thin Lizzy. I was listening to the Scorpions. I was listening to Ted Nugent, Aerosmith. I mean, all that stuff is what I listened to. And so I go walk into this place to see ZZ Top. I kind of think I know what I'm in for, but I don't. When I walked out of there, I was just a totally different person. I mean, those three guys blew me away.
I remember at that point you had seen, like, you know, Aerosmith, Ted Nugent, Angel, which is awesome. You know, Def Leppard, Scorpions, like all you'd seen all that kind of stuff by then. And then I remember you went to go see ZZ Top, and I didn't really think anything of it because I just think of, I don't know, old men.
30-year-old
rock
guys.
and roll. Yeah, 30-year-old men, those old dudes. But I remember when you came home and you told me how awesome it was. I was like, wow, that's really weird. I would never would have expected that.
No.
And then when I went to go see him, I was the same way. I went to go see Rose Tattoo, the band that opened. They were this Australian band. And I was like, oh, ZZ Top and Rose Tattoo? Yeah, I'm definitely going to that. So I go there. Rose Tattoo, they were good, but ZZ Top just came out and it like blew me away. And it was not what I expected.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and back
It's very
then,
powerful. They're really loud.
yeah. I remember it always being loud when we left there. When we'd go see them at the Coliseum, as they got bigger and, you know, bigger and more extravagant, the shows got bigger. The lasers were there. They had laser lights. They put on a heck of a show. And yeah, when you would leave there, you definitely have a ringing in your ears. They played like they sounded like they played, or the volume that they played at was exactly who they were, personality wise, I should say. But yeah, those three guys put on a show. The new shows started, like I said, this week, the tour. And there's a picture on one of the social media outlets of, there's two different pictures. There's one of Billy Gibbons, the guitar player, the new bass player, and I don't know his name. Sorry about that. He's up there playing the bass. And then, of course, Frank Beard on the drums. Frank Beard, the only guy in the band that don't have a beard. And then,
oddly enough.
And then the other picture is of Billy and Frank with the empty microphone with Billy's hat on it. Or I'm sorry, Dusty.
Yeah, you sent that last. I saw that. That was
Dusty's
really
hat
cool.
on there last night. So yeah. It's got to be a tough transition for those guys. Like I said, they've been playing together.
Man, yeah,
since the '70s, and then we grew up with them in the the late '70s, early '80s, and then on and on and on. But yeah, I mean, they still. Oh, I was going to say earlier, I kind of cut myself off when you talk about you stopped listening to them. That was one thing really, to stop buying the albums, because you're right, they did kind of generic. They did kind of find their roots the last 4, 5, 6 years ago, and put out some stuff that's a little more traditional and less synthesized type stuff. So they kind of got back to the basics a little bit. Of course, nowadays it's the record business ain't what it is, so I don't know how well those things even did. But one thing you could always count on, even through the lean years, through the synthesizer years, was going to see them live and getting your money's worth.
They
that never
played everywhere
changed.
all the time.
Yeah, that never changed.
I'm sure they played in Texas more than anywhere too. Even when those lean times were around, I'm sure they were just like, we always have Houston, we always have Dallas, we always have Austin, we always have San Antonio. Like, that's like a whole country to them.
Well, yeah, and it is to most people. It's to a lot of people. I talked to our friend Rick Stav a while back in detail about some of the things he did besides just being a DJ. And he talked about they would go on. He was with his band as a roadie. They would come here to Texas and spend 3 or 4 weeks just in Texas.
You're just right through Texas. There's so many cities you can go like play, and it's crazy. Really.
That's what was
like a whole country almost.
That was what was pretty cool about seeing them in Shreveport, because I was surrounded by their fan base. I mean, Shreveport is the same thing as Texas. That's like, I'm sure they played Baton Rouge all the time. I'm sure they played, New Orleans. I'm sure they, all those places just in their circuit where they went to, So that was pretty cool to see them.
never forget that Jesus just left Chicago and he's bound for New Orleans.
Bound for New Orleans.
Right.
Yeah, listened to that a few times last week. So
I did listen to Tres Hombres because it is my favorite ZZ Top album.
Yeah.
But song I sent you last night, you and Dylan, Have You Heard?
Yeah.
That song, I can't get it out of my head. I just played that album the other day after he passed away, and now I can't get that song out of my head.
That's got a lot of good songs on it. I got some of the older albums, and if I listen to them enough, which I probably haven't, if I listen to them enough, I'll find some others that I like on there. But if I've listened to one 10 times or 15 times, that's probably not enough, and I need to go back and listen to it again. But there's just a handful of songs on each of those old albums that I like. The rest of them is just kind of, to me, background filler music or just filler, period. But maybe it's not. Maybe I just haven't given it the right chance. Maybe I should go back and give it a second listen.
Yeah, give the record a swirl.
Give it the old once over.
Yeah, give it the once over.
Hey, so 79 is when I saw the DeGuello tour, 1979. And then 2 years later, they put out El Loco. So in 81, El Loco came out. So in the article I was reading about their discography and their 3-year break and getting the new deal and putting out the DeGuello album and going on tour, they did mention that DeGuello even touched a little bit on that synthesizer thing. You know what I mean? Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, like Manic Mechanic, you can hear it in that.
Yeah. They were just experimenting. They were using it just to see what it was.
And DeGuello's probably my second favorite ZZ Top album. Like it's an amazing album. You can't get it on Spotify for some weird reason. I tried it the other day and it's just not on there. Got everything else, but it doesn't have that.
Weird. I've actually got it on vinyl, and I think I've got the CD as well.
I think I have the CD. But yeah, that experimentation was even different back then because what they ended up finding in Eliminator was a formula.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they figured out how to like use all that stuff and make it work. A song to like, I don't know, not be poppy necessarily, just be different. Like because they did sound different. It made them distinct.
Yeah, so it was new to them. It was something to play around with in 79. By 81, they really started incorporating it into El Loco. You hear a lot more of it on El Loco. And then Eliminator comes out, and it's just all over the place. And then MTV happens, and then it just blew up. So, I mean, when something like that happens, it's like, okay, we found the recipe. This is it. We're going to do this every time.
Yeah, that's where the marketing campaign of the record company comes in because the whole structure that they built of the car, the girls, and the ZZ Top keychain.
Yeah.
The videos, like, and the cover of the album, and then the next couple albums kind of look the same, and they tried to keep the same theme, and then they turned it into a spaceship instead of the car. It's just, I don't know, it was like this whole marketing thing going on, and it became a little too much. But like, I mean, they fared well, that's for sure. Like they, you know, it wasn't that it was bad music. We were just kind of tired of hearing the same thing.
Well, I think also it didn't do anything wrong to them as far as with success, and they grew a lot of fan base during that time period.
Yeah,
so
they did.
Really, it's just like anybody else that we listen to and we like in the beginning, and then we kind of lose them along the way. I felt the same way about Def Leppard when the first Def Leppard came out. And these guys are 19 years old, you know. I fell in love with that record, and then High and Dry comes out. And now I really fall in love with these guys. They're my favorite band in the whole wide world. And then Pyromania comes out, and everybody else discovers them, and they're on the radio, and they're on MTV, and it's like, oh, I just lost my favorite guys. They're gone.
Well, that was a tough one because High and Dry was such a good album too.
Yeah,
Pyromania was a great album. Like, you know, it definitely did change. You could,
and then that was the same
kind of. You could hear the
kind of the same thing, kind of the beginning of figuring out your formula. And now every album has Hysteria and all the stuff. It kind of follows the same path.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so ZZ Top, very successful money-wise. I mean, popularity-wise. But guys like me and you, or guys from the past, or even older guys than us, are going like, yeah, they used to be so good, man, and now they're just this, blah 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 blah. But
the thing is, I would still go see them because they're some of the greatest blues players you're ever going to see. Like, Let's face it, it's amazing.
Yeah, they were
Those
just
guys are great.
They were just in Dallas as recently, I believe it's 2 years ago. They did like a 50th anniversary bash for a radio station or something that was going on here. But they were the headliners for that party at the outdoor pavilion, Gixa Pavilion, which is one of the big outdoor venues here in Dallas. And so they were just there recently. And the radio station, as a matter of fact, found some old pictures from that show, not old, 2 years ago. And they posted them on their Facebook page and their website, just saying, rest in peace, Dusty. And here's all the pictures from that show. So I remember when that came to town, because I actually thought about going. I said, it's been a long time since I've seen ZZ Top. And they always deliver. It would definitely be worth it. It was probably
So did Dusty Hill play that show
2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, I think
Wasn't
this whole
sick.
health thing has just been probably in the last 6 months or a year to where we
sucks.
really know about it. And maybe it's something he's battled with
Right.
the bursitis in his hip. Maybe that's something he's dealt with for a long time, but it's all brand new to us. But yeah, as recently as 2 years ago, he was performing full shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah, I mean the discography goes on and on. I think they put out over 18 albums in their career, something like that. Now, some of those are live albums, some of those are greatest hits albums. But I think they put out at least 18 albums over the years. And I have lost touch with what they were playing. But let's always go back to what we were saying before. It doesn't matter if you listen to the new album or not. You go see them tomorrow night somewhere, and they're going to kick your butt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're just, so. Yeah, so Godspeed to those guys. At 12 o'clock noon today, let's don't forget to look up into the sky and bless Dusty and his family one last time as they lay him to rest. Another thing that happened this week as well. This is kind of more on the upswing. Let's get out of the down mode. Although Dusty's not depressing, he's a happy guy, and you can put on some music and change your whole day if you want to. The Wolf Van Halen tour started this week. He's on tour with Guns N' Roses. He's already played one of the big shows, but what they're doing is pretty cool. They're using this opportunity when Guns N' Roses don't do a show every night or even every other night. They're pretty spaced out. So in the meantime, they don't want him sitting around for 4 days doing nothing. So they got him booked at these small venues in the towns they're playing in. So either on the way or getting there before or after Guns N' Roses does and finding some club down there and playing. So his first show last week was in Lawrence, Kansas at the Bottleneck. Been to the Bottleneck before, Joe?
I have been to the Bottleneck. I went to the Bottleneck in 87 or 88 or something like
To
that.
see a show?
I can't remember. Yeah, me and Lisa went. We went to go see some band. I can't even remember who it was.
I was telling Dylan, I said, it's one of those places, it's kind of like the Mason jar, but 10 times bigger. It's one of those places where everybody that's somebody, or everybody that's going to be somebody, plays there and then moves on. I was telling him that we were there on a campaign trying to get the band promoted when I was in Love and Rotation, and we took our promo packet up there and it had a VHS tape with about 4 live songs on it. It had our bio and pictures and all that kind of stuff in these envelopes. We were trying to find clubs in Lawrence and just anywhere outside of Wichita to maybe get a chance to get our foot in the door somewhere and start playing. So we went to the Bottleneck in Lawrence, and it was a Saturday. Went and gave it to the guy. He probably never even opened up the thing, never listened to the tape, never did anything with it. I just took it, threw it in the stack of folders he's got and envelopes he's already got. But one of the flyers that was on the wall said coming soon, or they'd already played the night before, I'm not sure what. Soundgarden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's why
I think that's probably around the same time that I went there. You probably went to go see someone like Vane or something back then. Who knows? But like,
yeah, Vane. But that's who was listening. But that's who was listening to that music back then. I mean, the indie stations were the only ones playing, the Seattle stuff.
Yeah.
So if you went to a college town with an indie station, they probably knew who you were. Whereas if you go to Wichita, nobody knows who Soundgarden was yet. We would find out, but at that time, we didn't know who they were yet.
Yeah, back in those days, all those bands played there. Sonic Youth played, in places like that back then in Lawrence. Everyone played in Lawrence. All those bands that got big, all played in Lawrence because Lawrence is a big college town.
That might be a place for David Lee Roth to end up.
David Lee Roth could probably play the Bottleneck.
You could do a weekly thing there every Saturday night or something. Saturday night or Sunday afternoon.
And then MC on Fridays.
Dave, yeah.
To announce his show on Saturday.
But yeah, he had a great turnout for that show in Lawrence. I don't know where the city was the second show, but it was another small club venue. And then he did his first big show opening for them. And the shot that I saw was from the back crowd, and they let him have he's got the huge mammoth WVH backdrop, black with the white lettering on
I
it.
did see that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, they're taking care of him. They're hooking him up. That's Eddie's boy. They're making sure. I'm sure Slash checks on him on a regular basis, make sure he's good to go, and all that stuff. It's got to be fun for both bands.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool thing, man. That'd be a lot of fun. And like, I mean, all those guys in Guns N' Roses, they're like older dudes now, and they're all cool. So I'm sure they're just like, all right, dude, this is gonna be awesome. You're gonna love it.
But I also heard that Valerie's on tour with them, like babysitting.
Oh,
I don't know.
He's in trouble.
That's what I heard. I've heard two different versions of it. I'll have to look into it and see what the truth is really. But yeah, so Mom's on tour, and I don't blame her. I guess she's been out with them before when they were in Van Halen, and they were fine. I mean, Eddie was calmed down by then. It wasn't what it used to be years ago. By now, they're just these guys go play the show and go back to their rooms and take a shower and go to bed. But 20 years ago, it was a little bit different story. You probably wouldn't want Wolf out on tour with his dad and the guys.
She probably still thinks Guns N' Roses does all that crazy stuff, so she's like, okay, I'm going.
Yeah,
I have to keep an eye.
She had to go see it for herself.
Those guys are dangerous.
If Slash pulls out that snake, you're off the tour.
He starts drinking Jim Beam instead of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, straight out of the bottle. Yeah, so anyway, that's just starting. That's just kicking off. Like I said, he's done a few of the smaller ones, and he'll continue to do those. If you look at the schedule, get access to the schedule, you'll see where he's got the ones highlighted opening for Guns N' Roses and just the little ones that are in a gray instead of black writing, and those are his club dates. So he's got quite a few mingled in there. They're definitely keeping him busy, and he's posting a lot on Instagram and Facebook, and he's pretty excited. You can tell. I mean, he's always been or has been one to share a lot of stuff on there. So I get a kick out of following him on different media outlets. But yeah, he's definitely fired up. There was a video last week 2 weeks ago when they were still in rehearsal at the 5150 studio. I think it's on Instagram. It's probably on both Instagram and Facebook, but it's about 15 seconds. And somebody outside of the practice room, out in the great outdoors, there's a big old gray building with 5150 on the side, and the bay doors that they open up to load all the equipment and stuff in, they're just kind of cracked a little bit. And the guy's sitting out there with his camera, and he pushes record, and you can hear him practicing inside that room. You get about 15, 20 seconds of rehearsal. That was pretty cool.
So what does he play? Is he playing guitar?
He plays everything. Now, he started out as a drummer for the most part, and probably piano. I think Eddie had him on his lap playing piano whenever he was a kid growing up, even a little kid that didn't know what he was doing, just to be around the instruments. And then the guitars, just having them around the house. There's pictures and videos of him walking up to him, just strumming them. He don't know what to do yet, but he's surrounded by all these instruments, and grew up in the studio, and his dad's who he is. So he just kind of absorbed it all. But in some of the pictures I've seen, he's playing the guitar. I don't think he does the bass on this tour. He's got a bass player. He's playing the guitar, and then there's also one where he's playing they moved the keyboard up to the front and center of the stage, and he's playing the keyboard too. So, but
is he also the singer?
He's a singer. He's a singer and a backup vocal. He does all the vocals on the album. On the album, I think he pulled a Prince, and he did everything. Pretty sure that everything on the album is 100% just solely him. Now he's got a 5-piece.
I'd like to know who's in this band.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that for sure either. I know at one time, he used to be in that one band, Alter Bridge or whatever they were.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Alter Bridge. It was Mark Tremonti's band, Tremonti. So Wolf.
He was in. He the guy in Creed.
Yeah. The guitar player. The guitar player.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So Wolf spent some time with that band for a while. I think in the studio and probably on stage, but pretty sure he was just the bass player there. But yeah, in these pictures you see now, he's doing a little bit of everything. So yeah, pretty fired up about it. So that's our Van Halen corner for the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Throw it in there.
Yeah. So it's about that time, folks. We're going to wrap up the show. Joe, anything else before we hit the road?
I'm good. Just everyone enjoy your day and your week, and see you soon.
No matter what the weather is. Thank you, Joe. All right, you
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Dylan, the producer, he's
Later,
out.
Dylan.
I'm out. Music Man Mike, we'll see you next time on Rockopedia.